And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slamfire Radio, episode 250 for March 29th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Adriel Michaud.
Please say I'm not next. Am I next? I can't see the notes.
I can't either. So I'm Kelly Lynn.
I'm Brian the Temp.
I am Recover webpage.
Brian the Temp has the notes open and no one else does.
I'm almost there. My computer hates everything.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the temporary guy. I'm the one who's organized.
No. That's short for temperamental, Brian.
Either works. Know me.
Oh, I was last anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Sweet.
Congratulations.
You gonna introduce yourself last anyway?
Yeah, I'm Trevor Furlot.
Oh, there we go. Welcome, Trevor Furlot, to this little show called Slamfire Radio.
Thanks, man.
All right, what we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. This week they have the CSA VZ58 762x39 for $14.39.
And they keep climbing. I bought mine. It was like $1,100 plus the 223 or the AR-15 Magwell conversion. Tax shipping. I got it all to my door for $13.
Well, I mean, after the most recent C71 news, you could either get them for very inexpensive or very expensive, depending on who was selling it and what they thought was going down.
Well, the CZ858s were all over the place.
VZs will be next. All right. Why don't we go into what we do with guns? Brian, did you want to start us off?
Absolutely. So I've got a rimfire precision match next weekend, the 7th. So I had to go grab some ammunition up at Epps. I did some testing to see which ammo I liked, and I found the stuff I wanted to use. So then I've got to get the rifle zeroed for that ammo now. I'm actually helping to staff the match. I am going to be the friendly and professional greeter for the event. I know, right?
You seem qualified for this.
Yeah. As the organizer said, they needed someone they could depend on, and that person wasn't available. So,
do they need a photographer?
Shut up.
Yeah, no, really. Right?
Oh man,
Rick's available, but Kelly apparently doesn't like any of my suggestions.
Yes. But boom. Yeah, no kidding. I'm actually hoping there'll be video evidence that I was actually at this event, but we'll see. Let's see. Then I went
maybe, depending on who's running the camera.
And it's always possible. Then I was at the range just getting some offhand practice with the 22 just because. And one of my friends was there with the Just Right carbine, so he let me shoot that for a bit, and I broke it. Yes.
How'd you break it?
Okay, I didn't actually break it. Like it was double feeding. He's like, that's weird. That it never happens. He's like, well, maybe because you're shooting it left-handed. I'm like, no, it can't be. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, what am I doing? I'm just pulling the trigger with my finger, and I've got my hand on the magwell like I always do. Oh, wait. The magwell is only about 2 fingers deep. The rest of my hand was resting on the magazine. So I was rocking the mag in the magwell, and that was altering the feed angle. So I made it not work, like really. So just right carbine, don't touch the mag. Don't shoot off the mag. I don't think that would be good either. So other than that, the rifle seems okay. I like it, but well, I've just never been able to justify parting with $1,000 to get one. So, and I'll probably continue to not do that. So,
and here's the thing, Brian. Now that PCC is catching on, and everybody wants an AR pattern PCC rifle for competition, you just wait, and you'll get something better, more ergonomic, more AR-esque for the same dollar.
We might even talk about some other options later in the show, right, Adriel? Yes, awesome. I did get my coasters from Just Simple Stuff. Yeah, isn't that neat? So I've got some in the office. I got some upstairs. I got some down in the reloading room. It's all class here, baby. All class.
So Fusilier, if you're listening, I'll be at Spring Bang. Just saying.
Yep. It would be silly for him not to take a bunch of stuff with him. So, and it's cool. They come with they come in a display box, which is a flattened cardboard box that you have to assemble yourself, and he put in target patches to stick it all together. It's like it's so perfect. It's awesome. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and then I threw it in the trash because I don't really need a box. But
really?
Yeah. No. They're coasters. You leave coasters out. You don't put them in a box. Let's see. The only other thing I did, I was at TACCon on the weekend. Hi, Kelly, again, because we saw each other.
Lots.
Well, not that. Well, lots for us.
Look at her. She's doing her best Eeyore. Oh, bother.
Ouch.
I saw you lots.
I'm sorry. I think that you had to put up with me so much. Apologize.
He
I'd say
actually
just-
gave me hugs, lots of them.
I just
So
trying
he
to
was
hit on
happy
you.
to
That's
see
all.
me.
Yeah. I see. I don't hug Trevor when I see him.
No, you don't.
Brian, you should have just told her to take a picture. Wait, never mind.
That's why I went with the hugs because it was going to last longer than the
It'll last
picture.
longer.
Oh,
And Kelly,
goodness.
I'm just on my first one.
I'm hanging up.
You have to call
Anyway,
me
okay,
first
so-
to do that, like Mike.
So I went to the second day of TACCon. I wasn't at the really crazy, stupid Saturday day when there was no room to move. So I actually had kind of free reign of the place. I could kind of move around and stuff and see stuff. I did get to see the W180C from Wolverine Supplies. I was actually pretty impressed. It has a nice, no nonsense, solid feel to it. Like it's the 180 was designed by Eugene Stoner to be a cheaper to build AR-15, so it's less refined. It's much more AK-ish, like rough edges and
The SKS of the
hardcore.
AR world.
kind of. But
No, let's not go that far.
Yeah, I know,
It was a
but-
stamped steel AR with no buffer tube nonsense going on, so you could put a proper folding stock on it.
yeah, because I really need to fold stocks. No, I never actually do. But that's okay. But I like the rifle. Like it. It feels the lower feels hefty, the upper feels solid. And this one had kind of a heavy barrel on it, so it was a heavy rifle overall. But it didn't feel like junk. I would think it's probably a pretty solid rifle. I'd be curious to see how they shoot and all that kind of stuff when people get their hands on them, get some reviews done. So that'll be awesome. I got to check out the Mossberg, their new pump action 12 gauges with the magazines.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that magazine! It's huge. It looks like a drum mag. Actually, it
Was it
reminds
the
me.
10 rounder or the 20?
This was the 10. I heard there's a 20. The 20 must be. Now I gotta think. For like 3-gun and stuff, you really have to weigh your options with having a mag for the shotgun. Yeah. Well.
A 20 round shotgun mag would be an incredible choice for 3-gun.
Yeah, absolutely. But a 10, I don't know, because you can't like stuff
rather
a
do
couple
10s.
in as you're moving in between stages. So you just
Right.
dropping mags everywhere, and your mag pouches would be the size of a suitcase, I would think. But
Well, that's
Yeah,
what the
you're
open
not-
guys face right now with their semi-auto shotguns, because most of them are running 5-round mags, and they have to run like 5 or 6 of them.
yeah,
But they're single stack and they're not wide, and
Mhm.
they're not terribly long, so it's not as bad as this big, huge double stack 10 thing or 20 thing. It's carrying 3 boxes of shells on your belt. It's kind of, ridiculous. But like if with a pistol, you shoot 4 rounds, and if it makes sense to change your mag on the way, you dump 6 on the ground.
yeah,
Right?
that's true.
If you're going to carry, you're not going to carry 4 10-round shotgun mags on your body and shoot 4 rounds and dump 6 on the ground.
No, you would carry 2 20s and you're done.
Well, there's that.
Yeah. No, I think with the
If you-
20, it would be really neat. It was interesting, and
It also depends on what rules you're following and whether or not you're allowed mag fed in manual standard, whether or not you're allowed, like you're going to go to open. If you're going to
Yeah.
run almost any game, if you run a mag fed shotgun, regardless of the action, you're going to go to open.
Mhm.
And
But I think you're
depending-
competitive there, because imagine a dry start. It's like 20 rounds and you go. Think
yes
of the
and no,
speed.
depending on the rule set, you're not allowed a dry start on a long course of fire, depending on the rule
Correct.
set.
Well, then you
Yeah,
start with a
well-
20 rounder in there. Everyone else has got like what, 9 in their semi-auto
No,
pump.
it's not about your gun. It's about the length of the course of fire. If it's a long course of fire stage, as a match director, you're not allowed to dictate an empty start on a long course of fire.
Correct.
So there's no advantage to throwing. You wouldn't get to use that advantage, is what I'm saying.
Well, if you had to get to a reload at all, you'd have 20 in the gun and no reload versus 9 in the gun and a
Yes.
reload, right? So
Yes.
it all depends. It adds a different element, a different option. I think it's pretty cool. Now, the other interesting stuff. I talked to
Who was
MD
that?
Charles. Sorry, that was me. My bad. Put my phone in the drawer here. Let's see.
That's how I silence mine. That's in the drawer.
There are
I'll
no
get it later.
buttons on your phone to do
There-
that.
yeah,
You
there-
Well,
just
I'm
put it
in the
a
middle of
drawer.
talking. I'm not gonna. No, okay, I'll deal with that after. Okay, so I talked to MD Charlton, and it looks like those of us with 320s that need the free upgrade or want the free upgrade will be able to do that within the next few weeks. They were supposed to be getting equipment set up this week finally, so I'm looking forward to that. In fact, I was so excited about it. I took out my Apex trigger and put the original grip back on the gun, which was brilliant. And then I remember that I have a pistol course at the end of April. There's no way I'm going to be able to send my gun off and have it back for that time. So I'll have to wait and send it off later. So I'll have to send it back and put it all back together and then take it apart again. Yeah, it'll take me a few minutes, but nothing too serious. I did get to play with the X5 320 a little bit. They had it there for display. If I could get an X5 grip frame, I'd be really happy. I don't know if I'd want to spend $1,500 on the gun.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how expensive they were.
How's
Yeah.
the reset on those? I shot a P260, but it was some other version. Vulcan. It had some weird name on it, and the reset on it was crazy. It had like maybe a tenth of an inch reset on it.
Unfortunately, these were all trigger locked, so I couldn't even dry fire it. So that was a bit of a problem. But yeah,
Here's the thing that needs to be mentioned. The X5 is not on the IPSC production list, which means if you want to use, that was me, Brian. I was really hoping your phone was going to ring.
yeah, it did. It really, really did. Sure.
We didn't hear it though, unfortunately. I guess your drawer technique works. So, yeah, for the listeners listening who can't see, Brian put his phone in a drawer, so I immediately called him to see if I could get it to interrupt the show. So, yeah, the X5
Well played, sir.
Yeah, and you didn't even get to hang up on me.
Well, yeah.
So
probably wouldn't have.
the X5 is not on the IPSC production list. So the other option for it then would be in standard, but apparently it's so big it doesn't even fit inside the standard box. So if you're thinking about buying an X5 for IPSC, enjoy the open division because that's the only place you'll be able to shoot it. So that's not the gun for open, just an FYI. I know it doesn't affect you, Brian, but
No,
for those
no, but you're
listeners who maybe, yeah.
Or for 3-gun.
Well,
fine
again,
for
depends
3-gun.
what
Yeah, yeah.
3-gun you're shooting.
Yeah,
We keep saying 3-gun, but it depends what rule set you're talking about.
Wait,
3-gun
but
is like
if he
saying I
keeps
drive
talking
a
about
truck.
rules, Adriel, why is he always hung up about rules? Just go and set them up the way you want them.
Stickler for
Pick and
rules.
choose which rules work best for you and go with them.
And make
Why
it
should-
up as you go.
Well,
Yes.
no, like have them
Anarchy,
published.
that's what you want. You men like you just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like
That's
sitting by
global
fire. I like sitting by fire. Will there be hot dogs and marshmallows?
Yes to
So
both.
Right, excellent. Let's see. The other cool thing I got to do, there was Kelly, help me out. Do you remember the name of the organization that had the laser trainer and simulators set up?
The name of them? No. No,
okay.
but it was really cool.
It was really cool. They were marketing to law enforcement
Yeah.
agencies, that kind of stuff. And at first I was like, why are you just marketing to law enforcement agencies? And then they started rhyming off the cost of the equipment. And when they hit the $300,000 mark for the projector, I went, oh yeah, okay, this has to be agency. So this was like a screen projector, and we had CO2 powered pistols, which apparently are each worth $15,000. I don't know. That were connected by.
It was fun, but if you have Bluetooth on,
Yeah, it messed up. If you had left the Bluetooth on your phone like everybody does, it kind of messed up the system.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's fine. So we got to shoot screen scenarios and that kind of stuff with these pistols. And then I switched to their VR. So I put a VR headset on, and they had a Daniel Defense rifle set up with the internals removed and basically sensors on it to see where you're pointing. And then I was actually doing some shooting with the rifle in VR, which was really, really neat. It's just like playing a video game, except I had a real gun in my hand. The only real trick I found to it was it made you do reloads, How many of us train doing reloads blindfolded?
Blindfolded.
Because that's what you were doing. Because you could look down in VR and see the rifle, but as soon as you pulled the magazine out, it just vanished and you couldn't see it. So then literally you're trying to put the magazine back in the gun really with your eyes. You can't see what's going on. You can't see the control. It was.
That's so hilarious because some internet ninja recently was talking about if you don't practice reloading your pistol blindfolded, then your thing's going to fall off.
Well, apparently mine fell off. Like,
yeah.
Now, this being said, from a real world use, martial use kind of perspective, if you're in an engagement in the dark, I'm not sure your night vision is going to help you see your actual gun. Like, you kind of do have to do that stuff by feel, I think.
Sometimes.
It's certainly worth practicing from that perspective. I don't have very many. Well, we don't shoot night matches around here very much, so I never have yet. But I can also see that.
There's talk of having one at the indoor range in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Where the sunset, sunup rules don't apply.
Yeah, there you go. Now, I would think a pistol would be easier to do in the dark because you can generally bring your hands together with your eyes closed. But with a rifle, you're bringing a magazine to a point that's forward of your hand. So it's worth practicing, I think, if you're going to do that. So.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I could probably do pistol. I probably couldn't do rifle very quickly.
Yeah, no, I'm sensing a whole Karate Kid kind of thing where I have to blindfold myself and do this. Yeah, wax on, wax off. So, the last really cool thing that happened at International Barrels, I ran into our friend Ryan Stacy, and I got this.
Oh yeah,
look at that.
If I run into him, will he give me one of those?
I don't know.
Depends how hard you run into him.
Yeah, you can ask him. I wouldn't recommend mentioning that I know you. That would probably not help. That's not good. So
when I go on a tour this summer, Adriel, I'll see what I can do for you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see Ryan tomorrow, I guess, if he's at the Calgary Gun Show.
Yeah, he's planning to be there. He was talking about being there. So
there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, they graciously decided to sponsor me this season. So by way of a barrel. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping to get.
Is that the same? Is that Ryan's barrel? You know what I mean when I say that?
Yes, it's Ryan's profile. Yep,
nice.
Absolutely. So,
I think it's probably the profile, but his is probably just a little bit better. He couldn't give you a heads up on him, right?
Thanks, Kelly. I was feeling really stoked about this, and now I feel slightly less stoked. Well,
Kelly had a little bit of extra chatter inside the barrel there, just to give himself the edge.
Yes.
Tiger Woods can give the second best golfer his gloves. It doesn't make him Tiger Woods.
Yes, this is true. Yeah, there's a little bit of difference between me and Mr. Stacy, besides the equipment. Just a little bit. So anyway, I'm pretty stoked about that. Hopefully, I'm going to get it to the range tomorrow and start shooting with it and seeing how it groups and that kind of stuff. And we will carry on from there. But that'll be the barrel I'm shooting this season. The only downside is as Ryan mentioned when he was on the show a couple weeks ago now, they don't yet have their hone in. So this is just double lapped. It's not honed. So
throw it in the garbage. What are you even doing with that thing on your gun?
I know.
How can you accept that as a sponsorship barrel?
Wait,
you know who you are?
Does it have the high gloss polish on the outside, or is it like some bead blast garbage?
Oh yeah, no, it looks very shiny. It's very nice.
High polish, high luster.
Yes, I would say.
Blued?
No.
Oh
no, I don't want. No, it's this is a piece of sporting equipment. I don't want it blued. I want it to be kind of flashy. So I even put a fresh coat of flat black paint on my handguard, so it's not gray anymore. So it looks like a new gun.
You want your handguard Cerakoted?
No, I do not. Because
he doesn't like the bling. Actually,
I would get it flat black Cerakote. That's all.
I would get it. I would spend money on Cerakoting it if you could tell me how it would tighten the grooves.
Well, you spray painted the handguard, right?
Yes.
For almost the same cost as what you paid for the can of spray paint, I could have it Cerakoted and then it would last. It's an offer, something I would do for a friend. But now I think you're being a dick. So,
well, to be fair, I did have the paint for something else. I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't.
The
Just
barbecue.
painting a chair and your gun's just sitting there. You're like, well, I guess so. Why not?
Hey, look, I looked at my shelf. I'm like, there's a can of black spray paint. Okay, let's slap this on it and we'll go from there. So,
Fair enough.
anyway,
Better than Adriel. Adriel sprayed it all white.
I really like how Adriel's rifle looks.
Yeah, and I did too. So I did that to my Remington 700, the TAC 21 chassis. Nope.
Yeah, it didn't quite blend. did it?
No, a Stormtrooper themed rifle. I mean, the groups opened up, so I was like, gotta
No,
fix this.
one of the
That
things I would like to do is maybe just put some like red splatter paint on it. You know, just
Nope.
kind of.
Nope.
No, not okay with that.
Green. Lime green.
No, that's way too lame zombie-ish. No.
And put the M, the like monster M on there.
Actually, if I could do like red and then white in the middle and then red, that would look pretty cool.
You could do a distressed red and white, like maple leaf type thing with Cerakote.
I'd have to do that Cerakote, yeah, for sure. And it won't tighten up the group. So no, I'm gonna avoid doing all that. It's gotta focus my my financial energies on stuff that's important. So I think that's it. Trevor, you're next.
I went to St. John last weekend on Friday night to teach a level 1 IPSC RO class. So it's the first in a series of 3 levels for IPSC range officers. This was a group of people from the Hampton Gun Club. I think they were all out of the Hampton Gun Club. It was awesome, man. One of the participants sponsored the course and helped fund the event, put me up in a nice king-size executive suite and
Nice.
rented a nice boardroom at the Delta. And we had 5 excellent students, very, very well prepared, and they're going to make a excellent group of ROs once their mentoring period is done. One of them was nice enough to give me a going home present of a head cold. So thanks, Lynn, if you're listening. I appreciate that. That was awesome. While I was there, I bought 2 guns. I bought a GP100 from Adriel to trade with Rick for a CZ75B Omega. So it's one of the 2 guns left on a list of guns that I want for my collection. Like I want like all of the most popular duty guns, the SIG, the CZ, the Glock, the Beretta. Can you guys think of another one that's like really, really popular that's in all the movies that's really popular? High Point. No, you're not even trying to pretend to play along here. Got the CZ. That's very popular. The SIG, the Glock, the Beretta. And I've got a 1911. I got a 357 Magnum. I got a 44 Magnum. I'm looking to like check off all the big boxes. You're not being realistic or helping at all. Like,
yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so how about you pretend for a second?
It's pretty hard for me.
Fine. All right. You guys suck. You're no help at all.
You probably need some kind of single action army-ish thing.
Well, not, I'm thinking the modern stuff, right? Like,
yeah. Okay.
Glock, CZ, SIG, Beretta, 1911. All right, I must have them all because you guys are my experts. Okay, so do you recall that on last week's show, I said that Denis ordered a case of 7.62 by 25. It was supposed to be cellulose and bellet, newly manufactured non-corrosive ammo. We double-checked it today when we opened up the box to see what it was that we in fact ordered. And it was, we did order cellulose and bellet. And what they sent us was Russian surplus. Get this. We called the distributor, and I'm not going to throw their name under the bus because I don't have Denis' permission and I don't want to cause any drama. But if you're listening, you know who you are. You know that your price list says cellulose and bellet, and you know you sent us Russian surplus. And then when he called, you know what they said? Oh, it is cellulose and bellet, but it's made for the military. It's head stamped 1946. I don't think they were around in 1946, and I don't think the French made military ammo for the Russians. I'm just a lot of speculation. I'm taking some leaps, but that's what I'm going with.
Well,
so,
S&B is French.
Yeah, I thought it was
Cellulose and bellet. Yes, those are both French words. I'm assuming because the name of the company is French, they're French. Am I wrong?
I thought they were like Yugo or something like that.
Oh, really? Well, the name is French.
Yeah. Well, my name is Spanish, but
Czech. It's Czech ammo.
Is it Czech ammo?
Yeah.
Oh. Ah, that's interesting. Because the box may actually be Czech and not Russian. Because I think I saw, what's the name of the country that CZ, the C in CZ? Before
Czechoslovakia?
No, before that it was a different.
No, it was Czechoslovakia before.
But just in a different language, so it doesn't look like.
Whatever.
Anyway, it may well be that then.
Semyon Billet is Czech, and yeah, they sold you some 1946 stuff. Hey, that's minty.
Yeah,
that's collector grade.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I did the nail test. I took a nail that already had rust on it, so I knew it would rust. Cleaned all the rust off. Pulled the bullet, dumped the powder, put the case on there, and with the primer flash hole on top of the head of the nail, we struck it with a nail and a hammer, and we'll wait and see what happens in a couple of days.
You should see some rust on it in like a day, like 24 hours to 48 hours.
Okay. Well, we won't be back in the shop until Monday. So no, Tuesday. Maybe Monday. I don't know. We'll see if he opens or not. So, yeah. So, I believe that's all I did. Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yep.
Hey, Brian, what kind of muzzle brake is on your rifle there? You just go mute.
Yep.
Hey, Brian.
There. Sorry. Yeah, it's just a YHM comp that I had sitting around in my. So I haven't really shot with it yet, so I don't know if it's going to be the one that stays on.
Looks very Battlestar Galactica.
It does kind of. It's got those, like kind of teeth on it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I could, accidentally impale Trevor with it.
It would be like, ow, stop that.
Yeah. Stop that. Yeah. Take that out of my ribs.
Yes. Yeah. Not that I would try to impale Trevor, because probably
no, but darn well you poke me with it.
All right.
Leaving that one alone.
Thank you. Gotta keep it classy.
She said.
All right. I guess that comes to me.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Shot a 3-gun match. That was pretty cool.
Nice video.
Yeah. We had
the shoot off. You were lighting it up.
Did you
win the shoot off?
I should have.
You know what? We'll come back to that. But I noticed a certain person, a certain listener of the show, who you beat, when they posted their scores, they just posted from their name down. It's almost like they cropped the photo. Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I did.
My name was not on there.
Your name was not listed above that person's name, because the name directly above that person was your name.
Yeah.
But when they posted it, they only Now see, last time I won and I posted the results, I was at the top, so I didn't have to do any Photoshop. But anyway,
it's easier to do it. Just get the top, and then you don't have to crop the top.
Right. But just an observation. I'm glad you made the same observation. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, that's funny. So I shot a 3-gun match. We had 47 people out. It was a busy match.
That's mental.
Yes, yeah. That
47 people for a 3-gun in the wintertime.
Yeah, in a March match, like the snow on the ground. It was snowing the day before. It was cold. It was wet. It was muddy, and
you guys were laying on a piece of plywood in the dirt and the mud.
Yeah, that's what 3-gun's about.
No, shooting 3 guns.
It is not. It is not like
in the dirt.
No. Let's see here. So my shotgun the weekend before was jamming on me. I chopped the recoil spring 3 inches, and that seems to work. I shot some Winchester stuff, and didn't jam on me once.
What were the jams? Failure to what?
Oh,
feed, extract, eject.
Think about that. It was short stroking, so I can't remember last week. I'm sure I talked about it on the show.
No, you just said it was short stroking. That you mentioned you said it was short stroking. I'm glad it's working, but I definitely, if you would have called me and said my gun's malfunctioning, and to solve the problem, I'm going to trim one of the parts inside that is a spring that's generally required for reliability, I would have advised against this. But
it's a recoil spring, and it's like a gun that's made for 3.5-inch shells.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm with
3.5-inch chamber. I'm shooting 2 3/4.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I just figured I'm not going to shoot any like ducks or geese or whatever with it.
No. And they have to build it to take that ammo or it beats itself apart.
Yeah.
And if all you run in it's gamer ammo, cool. Yeah. Makes sense.
Pistol was all good. I did have one fail to feed, and that cost me the shoot off. So right on the shoot off, I got to my pistol. I punched one target. I had a fail to feed. I racked the slide because I was just going He-Man fast, kind of trying to resolve it. And I gave myself a double feed. I resolved it. I started shooting again, but it was over. So, oh well. My rifle jammed on me as well. That one was a little bit more spectacular of a jam.
It was.
Yeah.
So was the way you cleared it.
Yeah, the case locked in there pretty good. So I mortared it. And if you haven't mortared a rifle before, the safe way to do it on the clock is to point the barrel down range, tap the butt of the rifle on the ground, hit the butt of the rifle on the ground, and the energy from the BCG, it wants to keep going. It will strip the round out and cycle the rifle. And that worked like a charm. Got me back up and running. That cost me about 10 seconds. I measured it afterwards, and that cost me the #1 overall. But I got #1 in TAC Ops.
There you go.
Yeah, I can't complain. Anytime I shoot a nice consistent match, and I feel like nothing really went wrong for me, I'm pretty happy. There were a couple of guys who, if they came out, would have taken first and second anyways, and they didn't come out. So I just count it like things can go right, things can go wrong. Most of the things went right for me, and I was pretty happy with my performance. So I'm good to go. A lot of new shooters out. All shot really safe, and that was a good time.
You made a good observation there, though. If you don't show up, you can't win. Doesn't matter if you're the best. If you're not there, you didn't win. So
yeah. And when I have a new shooter show up and they're in a category by themselves and they're like, "Oh, I won, but I was by myself." Hey, you know what? You took the trouble to show up. Take your trophy.
We don't give divisions unless there's like five of that.
Oh yeah, and neither does IPSC at an actual sanction match, but
yeah, and if somebody's new, you say, "Look, dude, you're not going to win much. Take this one. Go run with it."
Yeah. Well, I think what we're going to do is run more of those skills and drills days so that the new guys have more trigger time and more time to practice. Because like just with our range the way it is right now, we just can't have like 60, 70 people out to shoot. So we're going to do more of those skills and drills days, and that should make it. That's just an easy way of having a bunch of people out. Let's see. I sold that GP 100.
Thank you.
So I bought it. I shot exactly 100 rounds out of it, and I sold it. Out of revolvers just as quickly as I'm in. Let's see. I'm going to go to the Calgary Gun Show tomorrow. So I'm going to, like right after the show today, I'm going to edit it. It better be quick. No edit points. No swearing, everyone.
Got it. No problem.
I'm driving down Calgary tonight. I'm going to the Calgary Gun Show tomorrow. It's the biggest gun show across the country.
53rd, 54th?
What?
This year? When I was there, was the 51st.
I have no idea.
Well, it's been going for 55 plus years.
Cool. Yeah, so it's been around for a while.
The lineup to get in is like teenagers trying to get into a Backstreet Boy concert. It's ridiculous.
I'm going with another guy. He's actually been on the show, David. And he said, "Do you want to show up there at 8?" I'm like, "What the heck? The doors don't open until 9:30. Why do I want to show up at 8?"
This is why.
Lineups is like, oh man,
300 people waiting to get in or more.
I guess I'm gonna wake up really early so I can go to a damn gun show at 8 o'clock and wait in a line for an hour and a half. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna do that.
It was 4 hours for TACCOM.
Ugh. I hate lines. I hate lines with all my heart. Yeah, I'm not even going there to buy guns. I'm going there for you guys. I'm going there to interview people. I got a digital recorder. Look at this professional stuff here. I got a microphone. I'm going to record people and do show stuff. And it's going to be ready to rock and roll. Maybe it'll go on Patreon. Maybe it'll go on our next show. I don't know. I'm going to get some footage and we're going to use it or not.
Footage with a microphone. Attaboy.
Audio recording, footage.
Do you have a selfie stick?
I do have a selfie
Take
stick.
it, record. We had people walking around TACCOM with a selfie stick and recording themselves. It was awesome.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that guy.
Come on.
I'll have someone else use my phone. And if there's a finger in the phone in the video, whatever. I'm not using a selfie stick.
It's too bad that we never got you a show shirt, because if you wore your show shirt, people would recognize you.
Well, you
They're
got
gonna
me one.
recognize
It's just,
you anyway.
skin tight.
I
So.
think
yeah.
they'd recognize it. Well, you can wear the brown one.
No.
The what?
The new one.
No, that's So for Patreonies, the new T-shirt, they finally sent me the mock-ups or the design printed, and I don't like it. It's not good. So
Horrible.
we're gonna have them go back to the drawing board. So at the Calgary Gun Show, I intend on taking a look at the Wolverine 180 because I got one of those on pre-order and I want to see what it's like. I want to see the new I Run Guns 180. They're making one with RG, something like that. They've got a 180 that they're making as well. I want to take a look at that. I want to interview both of those companies if I can. I also want to see the FX9 that Wolverine has that's got non-restricted FRT that they're taking pre-orders on because that looks kind of cool. If you're listening to this tonight, which is Thursday, March 29th, I'll be there Friday morning. I'll probably stick around the CCFR booth for a little bit and go talk to Ryan at International Barrels. A lot of these guys, I've talked to them over the phone. I've talked to them over Slamfire Radio. I've emailed them with the hunting gear guy, and I've never met them in person. So I think that what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to say, "Hey, Adriel," and I'm going to have no idea who they are. I think that's going to happen.
As long as you can say, "Don't you know who I am?" and buy me a sandwich.
I demand subs, people.
And people will probably think you're taller than they realized.
Yeah.
I
I
was
get that.
amazed.
Yeah, he's much taller in real life than he looks on video.
Yeah. Let's see. I got a CGN response on my Nork pistol that I want to read.
Yes,
for
you
all.
did.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Make sure, Adriel, you first read the listeners the ad, please.
Oh, I gotta find it then. I've read it on air before, haven't I?
Describe it. Just okay, rough it out.
Okay, I'll rough it out.
Bespoke
I am
pistol.
really overblowing the value of this Nork. I'd say.
Yeah,
I
when
call
you
it-
list me as the builder, you've gone too far.
Yeah, I listed it as a bespoke 1911 work done by artisan Trevor Furlot. It's a work of art, blah, blah, blah. And I put it on CGN for $1,500, which is a little bit more than what it's worth. But let's
Only
just a
3
little bit.
times.
On CGN, typically people they want to negotiate. So you got to give them a high price to start with. So I got a response from it. Someone says, "You know what you have and what is spelled what?" And he says, I'll leave the name out, but all you have is a slightly polished Norinco turd. $1,500? Get real. How do I know? I have one too. Change the grips, magwell, trigger guard, blah, blah, blah. I did the same, but I'm not hallucinating that I also have nothing more than a slightly polished Norinco turd. Don't be insulting. And here's my response. How dare you? This fine firearm is a work of erotic art. She is the queen of the safe, but deserves better. Like to be in one of those highfalutin museums where they have really fancy historical guns. I guess she'll have to go to another owner with better taste than you.
The best part about trolling someone is when they're too stupid to know they're being trolled.
Oh, there's a 50-50 on this one. Like I'm saying some real weird stuff in here, so they might pick up on it, or they might get really pissed off. And if they do, I love it so much.
Exactly. Your hate sustains me.
Yeah. So that just fills the tank.
You should just get back to him and say, "Did artisan Trevor Furlot work on yours? I don't think so. You don't
Ugh.
have what I have."
Not worth it. Yeah.
If he comes back, I don't know. You gotta keep it going as long as you can until he blocks you.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
The other thing
that
that
you're
I've,
worth $1,500 too.
What's that? Sorry.
Tell him that if he wants, people who can make his gun worth $1,500 as well.
Yeah, if he wants that
He's
value,
selling himself short.
that resale value. Yeah. The other thing I've been working on is a couple of LED panels for video and to make my video better well lit. And I think I miscalculated the power a little bit. This is daylight coming in and out of my window right here. Like the sun is right there. So it's it's pretty strong. Here's my panel at, I can only get it up to 10% power so far because I don't have the correct size amplifier, but you listeners will just have to imagine.
Oh my God.
That's the power off of it. That's 10%.
Can you wear a hat when you do that, please?
Oh my
I think
god!
I'm gonna get a tan. It's gonna be good for a tan.
You're gonna get cancer, is what you're gonna get. You better
Okay,
put on
like-
some FPF 30.
If you're putting an amp on your lights, that's a problem. The
That's a
amps
lot
are
of
for
lighting.
stereo. That's not. No, that's. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that Adriel is actually a supervillain. This just strikes me as supervillainish kind of stuff.
He's got
When
the haircut
something-
for it.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, Lex Luthor. There we go. I got a better beard than Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
No,
he's
you're-
gonna- Go ahead, Trevor.
He's the guy with the
Have a-
minions.
Goatee or a real beard?
Lex Luthor? What?
Yeah. Does Lex
Lex
Luthor have a goatee or a real beard?
No,
Neither.
he's totally bald.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
No, I'm telling you, like he's gonna take that light panel outside and start killing birds as they fly by.
So it's like a Tim Allen thing. As soon as it's like, oh, you know what, more light is better. It's like, okay, I know how to take this, how to take this to its logical conclusion. What video? Like a professional video? It's the lights like 50 watts. Oh, let me make a couple that are 700 each.
Yeah. So now I can do a video and get a tan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to put on some SPF in front of that, man.
Video
That's-
studio / tanning salon. Shea Me Show.
Should be sweet. I turned it on when it was on the floor. My cat laid down next to it because like it was
warm.
like light coming out of the window. It was like, oh, that's nice and warm.
This is LED that generates no heat, so he's managed to
Just
generate
the light.
heat.
Yeah, it's just hitting it.
I was just gonna say, imagine all of the power.
Unlimited
See Albert, right?
He's doing the whole thing on 4 watts. It's LED. It's no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, it's not like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when they finally get the lights to work and the nuclear power plant trips the breaker.
Yeah, very reasonably trip only 1 or 2 breakers. Anyways, that's what I'm up to. Kelly, how about you?
So last weekend it was TACCOM 24/7. I went on Saturday, or sorry, I went on Friday. Went up on Friday with Kelly Kincaid. So Kelly Squared went from Kingston. We
Kelly
had
squared. That's cute.
yeah. We're referred to as Kelly Squared because we actually finish each other's sentences. Everybody
Right.
gets us mixed up. We're both from Kingston. We're both Kelly.
Like
So,
Mo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mo
Well, I
calls
would
us
have
Ferlachie.
thought she would have introduced herself to me instead of me having to tell you to introduce me because you
Yeah.
were rude.
I was being rude, wasn't I?
Yeah, that's-
Yeah. But hey, it's Kelly Squared. So you got already introduced to Kelly. So it's redundant.
It's like double mint. It's double your pleasure.
Okay, we're moving on. All right.
I have a question, Kelly.
Yes.
TACON, is this a new thing? Because I don't think I ever heard of it.
Yeah. So the Firearms Outlet Canada, they have a new store. So they were putting together something, and they have a new indoor shooting range as well. That's just about to get finished. So that's where TACCOM was. Good venue. It was right through the store. Store's beautiful, by the way. They got nice floors, nice washrooms, by the way, too. But they were having all their suppliers come in and just feature all their firearms and different things like that. And they put it together, and it was they put it together, and they were figuring they'd get about 300 people. Yeah. Wow. They sold 6,000 tickets, and yeah.
And this
So,
was for the public just to come in.
Yeah, this is just for the public just to
Oh
come
my
in.
God, we keep saying we need our own SHOT Show.
Right.
And look at what, yeah, and this is the first year 6,000.
Anyways,
Well, yeah, and wait for it. Yep.
yeah, we were talking to Fred afterwards. We were giving him some great ideas. I did want to say thank you to Airhead Coffee, by the way, for supplying me with coffee through the weekend. Yeah, so there was supposed to be 300 people, but there was 6,000 tickets sold. Most of those people went through on Saturday, by the way. They didn't start counting until about halfway through Saturday. So there was so many people there. But before we get on Saturday, let's go back to Friday. Friday night, we had Gunny night at the pub. I was in charge of Gunny night, and I said, well, there will be about 20. It was right across the street from TACCOM. There will be about 20 of us there. 55 people later, the place was rocking. Rod was there. And it was a really good night. I did want to say thank you to Angela and Gavin. They showed up and they were helping Kelly Kincaid, Kelly Squared, keep a secret. They gave me a birthday cake and everybody sang me happy birthday. So it was awesome. And we also played. What?
Were there candles on the cake?
There were candles on the cake.
How many?
2. One that said 1 and one.
Oh, so the candles were digits. Like this first candle was 1 digit and the other candle was the other digit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Anyways. So,
Which
yeah,
digits?
I blew those out and took them off the cake right away. And Thomas Stika, I just wanted to say thank you. He brought me birthday beers. So, which was awesome. Yeah, it was. Every time he comes to an event, he brings me something. Last time it was pies. This time it was beers. So it was good. He's one of my favorite people. Yeah. So we also played a game. It was called Tracy and Kelly Squared. They had to know the difference. We gave them 20 questions. It was awesome. So we gave away swag, CCFR
we should do
swag.
that at the charity shoot.
It was awesome. It really, really was. So we gave away T-shirts. We gave away hats. I gave away one of my last calendars. And also Dan Demers was there. And he gave us
Go Nanook cases.
These Nanook cases. He gave us a bunch of those to give away on Saturday and Sunday to people who signed up at the CCFR booth for memberships.
Nice.
But we had a bunch of them for prizes and giveaways at the pub night too. So it was awesome. And they come in 3 sizes, by the way. This one's a small one. It's great. You can put your phone in it. You can put anyways, check them out.
Great for canoeing if you want to keep your electronics dry and above water.
They float, first aid kit, blowout kit. So if you are not watching this, go and you're hearing it, go to Nanook and Nano and you'll be able to see it. We ran out of, so let's go to Saturday. No, let's go back to Friday. After the pub night, we went back to the hotel. We were all staying at the same hotel, and we stayed up until about 3 o'clock in the morning drinking those birthday beers out in the lobby. It was fun, but we did have to get up and go to TACCOM. We were there bright and early. We were able to go in and see everything before the massive hordes of people came. There was so many people that it was lined up 6 times around the building. It was 4 hours to get in. Fred did the first time he ever did it, but he did an amazing job. They had food trucks outside. They had a tent outside. The tent had other vendors in it, and people would go through the tent first, and then they'd go into the main venue. So out in the main tent, you had Ragnarok Tactical. So you had Gavin and Angela. Angela actually ended up setting up another CCFR booth out there with Gunny Girl calendars. She was signing things in that too. You had the NFA out there. You had a whole bunch of different people out there. It was really, really well done. They were letting people in. At one point, they actually had to stop letting people in. They'd let 50 people in at a time, and they'd let people come out. There was only 4 porta potties though, so that was one of the downsides.
No. I thought you just said the bathrooms were nice.
Oh, yeah. Those of us that were vendors, we got to use the bathrooms that were staff bathrooms.
Oh.
Yeah, they even had seminars. They had a huge classroom. People could go in and take seminars and listen to people talk. They had the media there. It was pretty freaking awesome. They were giving away things like you wouldn't believe: barbecues, washing machines, dryers. They were giving away guns, all kinds of different things. So people were signing up for it too. As I said, Saturday, super, 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 super busy. These things, we ran out of them within the first hour and a half.
Those are what now? For those who can't see?
Oh, sorry, the Nanos, Nanook Nanos. Hey, Tracy. We ran out
Hi,
of
guys.
them within the. I'm just talking about TACCOM.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how to work headphones.
Hi. So we ran out of those. So Dan was fabulous and gave us some more. And then we ran out of those as well. And yeah, by the time it was 3:30, I was able to go pee. I hadn't all day or had anything to eat. I ate at 6 o'clock on the way home. Now, Kelly and I were in the car and we looked at each other and said, that was crazy. It was just stupid crazy. So we weren't supposed to come back on the Sunday, but we sent a message to Gord Lamoureux and said, hey, so we're driving here. We're driving, but if we can make it work, what about going back tomorrow? Do you want us back? And he said, yes, please. So we got in the car on Sunday morning at 7 o'clock with lots of coffee, and we drove. And we drove back to TACCOM, and we spent the day there as well. Now, because I went back on a Sunday, I got to meet Benny, and I got to meet up with Brian, and he gave me a hug too. And I got to meet a whole bunch of different people. Like I got to meet Nicholas from Gun Blog, and well, pretty much got to meet it was a little bit more low-key, but we were still super busy. So it was a really, really good week for the CCFR because of the fact that we had so many people joining us. The booth was super busy, but super small too. We got to get to know each other quite intimately because we were squished against each other. But
I'm in next year.
and yeah, and the only other thing I did this week was on Wednesday night we had our first instructors meeting for the Maple Seed instructors. But other than that, yeah, that's about it.
Kelly,
Yep.
so the show, is it like SHOT Show? Where it's obviously not like SHOT Show because it's open to the public.
Yep.
So can you purchase things here, or is it more like?
Right. So this year anybody who actually, so there was Nurse Silva, there was Coal Canada. Coal Canada was there. They were pretty awesome.
The distributors and manufacturers.
Yep. So they were all there. Most of them you couldn't buy. You couldn't buy the firearms. So what was happening is they'd come in and do the show, then they'd go into the store. By the way, the store, it looked like it was pillaged. There was no guns left. There was no supply there. Yeah, they had the most fabulous weekend there. Now, some of us, like for example, us, the CCFR, we were selling things. Like we were selling, obviously, memberships, but we sold. By the way, we sold out of all the T-shirts, the hats, everything that we brought. We were sold out of them too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a freaking like Ragnarok. They were literally the first table. Yeah, they were literally the first table that you came to, and people were just saying, take my money, take my money. It was awesome. Now, when I was talking to Fred afterwards, he said that during the
sorry, maybe you said this. If you did, I apologize. Fred is the owner of
Firearms Outlet Canada.
Okay, and Firearms Outlet organized TACCOM.
Right. So Fred Pellegrino. So he was at the Toronto Sportsman Show. He was saying, and that's where it's going to be next year. They were already actually. I said it's kind of like having a baby, right? It's painful.
Hold on, Tracy. Tell Summer not to do the dishes right now.
Oh, it's Colin. Actually, why can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You mute the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I?
Tell him he's
on the screen. There's a little icon on the screen.
Boom, she's muted. Let's keep
There we go.
Adriel done did it.
All right.
Thank you, Adriel. Okay.
So many men wish they had your power right now, Adriel.
He actually made Tracy Wilson shut up. Nice.
She can hear us though. Look at those lips going. That's a lot of profanity. You're a dead man, Bolivar.
Again. It's not the first time that there's been violence done to my person based on what I said to Tracy.
Sorry, Kelly. Please continue.
Are you good? All right. So next year it's going to be at the International Center. So where the Toronto Sportsman Show was, they're going to have it there. And I don't know. Fred was saying that he's planning on not just making it a firearms, FOC show. He's going to invite other retailers. So it's going to be a true tactical conference, basically. It's going to be SHOT Show for Canada. That's what we're predicting. And so I gave him a few hints, different things like that. I said, well, that's awesome. You should really do that. I said, but have an exclusive night on Friday night at your store. I said, and his eyes lit up and he went, oh, and so basically it's going to be at the International Center. They're going to be able to accommodate a lot more people. Not only that, if it's there, in SHOT Show-esque, so if you have Colt Canada, you have Daniel Defense and all that too, you can have it, you can have the D&D and RCMP and everybody come too, right? And that way they don't have to go.
Be there.
Well,
they're the only ones allowed to have guns.
Well, let me talk to you about that in just a second. Okay, so they can come to that. It's going to be easier for them to come to Canada. Well, obviously, they're in Canada. They don't have to go down south. So it will open up things. A lot more vendors will go. It's going to be awesome. So, yeah. So we had cops there. We had cops that were assigned to it. They were walking around, and one of them came over to us and said his PAL was expired. So we offered to sell him some defense insurance.
In case you get arrested by one of your buddies.
It was awesome. But he did come over. He says, I need your help. So we're going, here, let us help you. CCFR is there for you. So it was awesome. I just thought it was hilariously funny. I said, sell him some defense fund insurance. Anyways, that was me.
I will say that Firearms Outlet is one of the nicer firearms stores that I've ever been in. It's a really classy, professional joint. They do things well. So
yeah,
and yet they let you in.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's not like they sponsor me. Like, they're not as good as Outlet Apps, but they're really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like them a lot. And this was a really well done event. I was really impressed with it, and I hope it makes the transition to the International Center, like they talked about. And if Fred puts in the level of effort that he showed me at this event, it will come off as being really, really well done.
So we need to start having invitation-only parties like the Glock party and the SIG party and all that stuff, and the CCFR party. Yeah, but I'm thinking also the Slamfire party.
Yep.
Which very quickly would get off the hinges, and we'd have the reputation of being the one where, somebody was on a pole, Adriel, whatever,
Honestly, Slamfire is more the kitchen party kind of scale. So maybe, not that I haven't been to numerous parties in Trevor's kitchen. So.
Right. Just because we have parties in my kitchen at charity events we're way bigger than my kitchen, dude. We have a beer. Never mind. I almost have been a beer sponsor this year.
Anyway, we're out. Okay.
Right. Upcoming events. You guys didn't need to talk today about any of these?
No.
All right, let's keep going then.
Well, hold on. Now, we would like to talk about the pistol class.
For Lachie? That one?
For Lachie, yep. So Matthew was on last week, and everything went according to plan. People have stepped up. People have signed up. That being said, there's still room in both classes. So the class will be held Handgun Fundamentals on July 14th, Beyond Fundamentals on July 15th. Looking at the Edmonton area, waiting. We got 2 ranges in mind right now. We will announce very, very shortly which range it's going to be at. So it's a go. Matthew's flight is booked. We're definitely doing this. Unfortunately, Adriel, that means you and I miss Prairie Fire. but fortunately we get to put on another awesome 2-day class. So it's definitely a go. If you were on the fence wondering if it would happen, get off the fence. We still have room for you on both days. If you have any questions, you can get them answered by emailing slamfireradio@gmail.com.
Okay, I have a question. You just said Matthew was on last week. You told me there's no show last week, and that's why I didn't need to be doing it.
I didn't say he was on this show. I just said he was on in like the royal sense.
Oh,
Like the royal we. He was like on somewhere on the net talking about our class. You're awfully defensive, I find.
Brian, didn't you listen to the show?
what
There
show?
was
No,
no
hey,
show.
wait.
No.
No. Trevor said there was no show last week. He said,
Oh.
Brian, we're not doing a show this week. You don't need to come on. That's, yeah. I got that. I got a Voxer from him early in the morning. It seemed really important that he told me that early last week. That
I said
didn't
something
need to
like
be on.
Andrew Craig once said to me, "Your services are no longer needed."
It's
All right.
it's completely possible that I thought of Mr. Craig when you sent me that. I'm seeing how it works now. It's like I'm a temporary fill-in for somebody. Is that
You're
how that
very
works?
much a temp. You were sent over by an agency, even. Not highly recommended either, by the way.
Yeah, again, you were looking for someone qualified, but they weren't available.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Would it blow your guys' mind if we swap the main topic with news and went straight to the main topic?
You do whatever you like. I need to freshen up my drink with some new whiskey stones.
I also need to get more liquor. That's gonna work.
Tracy's already prepared. Everybody else is got. Oh, how are you? Oh, she's still muted.
I'll unmute
Sorry.
her. I think I can unmute. No, I can't. Maybe I can. No,
What
she
do
has
you
to unmute herself.
Okay.
She's got to press the little like microphone button on there.
Do you see it?
Yeah, it'll be on there somewhere. It's interesting. I can't unmute her. I have the power to mute, but not unmute.
Let's see.
Can you
Oh.
hear me?
There we go.
There you go.
Oh God, I look awful. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fabulous. We're gonna keep it on Adriel. We're gonna keep it on Tracy, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Do you want me just to ask my people to be quiet?
Yes.
Okay, he's just gone to take the garbage out. So
oh,
while he
God.
No way to talk about summer.
Summer is currently, I don't know, laying in bed watching Netflix while Colin cleans my condo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yes. So I got totally flanked tonight. Did you see that? I've been sort of teasing my MP Will Amos, he is vice chair of the Rural Liberal Caucus. Sorry, my voice is almost gone just because I've literally been talking for 2 weeks straight. But
yeah.
anyways, he avoided us during lobby week and stuff like that. So I mentioned him in an interview with the Hill Times that they did about our lobby week. And I said that, I had no response from him and whatever. So he started off the meeting kind of blasting me out for that. And that, it's not fostering a good relationship to, publicly embarrass him and whatever. And I said, hey, I don't know how many people you employ, but you've got an entire staff in your constituency office as well as your Ottawa office. I know how this works. And if one person couldn't take the time to pop me off an email saying that you're unavailable, then I don't know what you want me to tell media. Like, I'm not prepared to lie for you. So it was completely accurate that there was no response from your office. So he didn't really like that. And he comes back on the phone and he's like, well, I've just patched in a special guest to join us. So, Tracy, I'll let you introduce yourself to Minister Goodale's parliamentary secretary, Mark Holland. And I'm like, talk about well played, Will. Good job.
We've got a meeting with him very, very soon. Mark Holland's going to be in a meeting with one of our Larry's local MP.
Oh, good. Yeah, good luck with that one. He's probably our biggest threat in the entire Liberal caucus.
Right. Well, that's why I said to Larry, I said, didn't we get him fired once from something? Like there was the Fire Mark Holland fund or something? What was that?
Yeah, he lost his riding for a while during, I think it was over C-68 or whatever, over something anyway, some gun legislation. He lost his riding. So funny enough, he's already been, removed as an MP. He's since won again, but he was removed as an MP for anti-gun stuff. Colin, honey, they can hear all your noise. But I love you. Thank you for doing my dishes. Okay.
Ready to rock and roll?
So, yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's talk. I got all kinds of things to talk about. So what do you want me to talk about? Lobby Week, C71, and the petition?
Let's start with C71, and then let's head on to Lobby Week.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little rough. I'll try and not be rough.
Let's drink some more whiskey. That helps Trevor.
That's what I'm doing.
Tracy, we know you. We sort of expect you to be a little rough.
I know my whiskey voice has now graduated to I don't know what's happening
Tequila
to me.
voice.
Yeah. Tequila voice. Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Welcome to the show, Tracy Wilson. Welcome, Tracy.
Hi, Adriel. How are you
Again.
today? Again. Yeah.
Pretty good.
All right.
Was good. Tell us a little bit more about this C71 thing that's been coming up.
Okay, so C71. I mean, they've sort of been playing with us about this legislation for months and months, right? They had promised in the fall they'd have something out by Christmas. It came late. But what I do want to say is that their timing is a little bit funny, because right on the heels of probably the one time I've really congratulated the Liberals on something they did with guns was the Summit on Gun and Gang Violence. So I attended that on invitation from the minister, and I got to tell you, it was a great conversation. 300 experts from across the country, all working on issues to help combat gang violence, which is plaguing our nation, right? And I thought it was a really positive event, a conversation that's actually been needed since long before they were in power. So right on the heels of that comes this new legislation, and it's a little disappointing. The minister admits that there is a rising gang-related violence problem in Canada. And yet, if you do a word search on this legislation, gang and organized crime doesn't appear once in the entire thing. So it's sort of funny that they spend, I don't know how much of taxpayer dollars to bring all these people together, nice fancy lunch, a great big venue. It was a to-do. They spend all this money to define what the problem is, and then turn around and legislate more stuff on the one group that isn't breaking laws.
Seems like they had some legislation in mind anyways, and they just didn't care about what the research or the data said.
That's exactly right. So just to be clear, there's nothing in this bill that is aimed at criminals whatsoever. It's completely targeted at law-abiding gun owners. The CCFR has a few main concerns with the bill. Verification of license. So this is something, I get it. On our PAL, you've got the expiry date and you've got your picture on it. So you can say, yeah, okay, that's Tracy Wilson, and her PAL is good until whatever date in 2021. If something has happened since I've received that PAL between then and now, it doesn't show. And if you've had your PAL revoked or suspended for committing a crime, they don't come to your door, bang it down, and take your card, right? So I get it. There is a little bit of, is it a problem? I don't know. I don't know if there's any data on whether or not that's a problem. But they
don't revoke very many PALs per year, right?
No, they don't. They don't. But if your PAL is suspended temporarily or revoked, there's no way of knowing that just by looking at the plastic card. So,
Tracy,
we have talked about it. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
When the registry came down,
yes,
there was some kind of announcement about verifying a buyer's license before handing over a non-registered, non-restricted firearm. Was that actually legislation, or did they just scare us and say, if you don't do your due diligence and ensure that license is not expired or revoked, and they use the gun in a crime and it's traced back to you, you'll be held responsible? How much of that was just fear mongering, and how much of it was like, yes, you're legally required to verify a buyer's PAL?
So it was never actually implemented into legislation. It was done voluntarily. And to be honest, as far as retail purchases go, a lot of the big retailers have been doing it voluntarily.
Right.
You know,
yeah, I'm
just
talking
calling
about
in.
you and I between each other.
Between you and I, there's never been anything. So this.
Okay. So we just did it to be smart, because I always, if I sold a gun on CGN, I verified the PAL.
Right. And some people did, some people didn't, right?
Okay.
So
I just wanted to see it, and that was it.
Yeah, I see that there is not a loophole, but there is it's a little bit of a tricky part. And originally Public Safety had talked to me about creating an online portal, which apparently they're still doing, where, if you're at a Sunday afternoon gun show, or, it's late at night on a Saturday night and you're selling a shotgun to a friend, you want to be able to go online, simply enter their PAL number and, get a green light or a red light. It should be that simple, right? So I actually don't really oppose any of that. What I do oppose, and what the CCFR opposes, is the fact that not only do you have to do that, but now you have those two items where you're connecting the validity of their PAL is now joined together with a permission. You're going to be required a permission by the CFO. Now they're saying, well, there would be no reason for the CFO not to grant permission, which would then accompany a reference number. But that's not in legislation. Who's in control of that? The CFOs are individually in control of that. So we've got a spot there where we could see some big problems, right? If you're
it's a pain in the butt too. I mean, like your online portal that you're mentioning there, yeah. The PAL numbers, there's a number on there. If I'm going to sell a gun to Trevor, I should be able to say, go to that website, punch in his numbers. Yep, Trevor's legit. Boom, sell him the gun. I'm good to go. Right.
Right. And what they're saying by requiring that in legislation is that they don't trust us to actually do our due diligence and do that. We now have to prove it by including that whole permission level with a reference number for that transaction. Mm-hmm. So I sort of feel like they've solved a problem that didn't really exist. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just like going back to the paper ATT, when we lost the paper, when they made the paper an automatic condition of our license, the legislation didn't change. You were still required to go by the most direct route possible. But of course, the way they spin it, the way they tell it is all of a sudden they made it sound like C-42, the Harper government made it so that, and they actually said this was a tweet or a news press release that said Canadians can now transport their assault weapons freely.
Right. And I brought that up today. I actually had an interesting call from my own MP, and he brought on his special surprise guest, Parliamentary Secretary to Ralph Goodale, Mark Holland. So that was exciting. But I had that conversation with him today, and I said, you guys are painting a picture of us, running around in the parking lot at Walmart with our handguns, or sitting around in schoolyards with our AR-15s, and that simply isn't true. It's disingenuous. And,
yes, it is.
Right. And, we were only permitted to go to a certain amount of places with, reasonably direct routes and blah, blah, blah.
The magical piece of paper didn't change that. All we did when we got rid of the piece of paper, it was save taxpayers millions of dollars in paperwork.
That's right. And here's the thing, with having a piece of paper, anybody with a computer, a printer, and a Word document program can make a piece of paper. However, having it attached to your license, it's then electronically verifiable for law enforcement. They can compare it to CPIC and electronically verify it, and it's in real time.
We got a magnetic strip on our license, and I always knew that someday that magnetic strip would be there for a reason. Mm-hmm. But they've never actually used it. They've never said, "Oh, let me have your license. I'm going to go to the card. I'm going to go back to my police cruiser, swipe it, and I'll come back and I'll know if your ATT is valid or not."
Right.
Never happened.
Exactly. And to me, that's a far more thorough process. It's instant. It's reliable for law enforcement. Now to go back to paper, I don't know. It's pretty archaic. So I was
going to say it's draconian.
Confused. And here's the thing: a police department or a police services department was one of the places you could previously take your firearm. So now you need a short-term ATT to go to the police department to turn it in for destruction. I don't know. I just think it's...
Honestly, the police get really nervous when they just have random citizens show up with guns on their desk. Like there's been a series of buybacks advertised here in Ontario, and they've all said, call us, we'll come get your guns. Don't come into the station with your guns. They do not want a bunch of people coming in with guns. They don't like that for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, and maybe I get that if you're going to go in there and be brandishing it or something, but
well, but some people are stupid and they don't know they're stupid.
People are stupid, yeah.
And they would walk in with it uncased, and they would muzzle it around.
But yeah, so we're basically returning to the paper ATT for the majority of places. Yeah, you'll still be able to go back and forth to the range, but you got to go to the gunsmith. You're going to have to really prepare. Maybe wait weeks and weeks. Like it's silly because again, it's solving a problem that doesn't actually exist. Right.
And they lied to the members, because I met with my MP right after the first reading, and he ran from the floor to his office and Skyped us. We were at his office in Campbellton, and when we talked about calling in for an ATT, he said, "No, but the NDP proved that it only takes 3 minutes." We were right there on the floor, and they called, and they were on hold for no more than 3 minutes. I said, "Yeah, but it's not about a phone call. You're saying you want us to have the piece of paper. Well, they're not sending us the piece of paper instantaneously through a fax machine or."
Oh, that's super cute that he thought that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's special. So yeah, like I said, Rod and I talked about it a lot, and we're, I get it about verifying, and an online portal is a really easy way to do that. Basically, by requiring this whole weird process, they're saying they don't trust us. Same with the ATT. You've gone through the training, you get the daily background checks. We trust you with this handgun. We just don't trust you enough to drive to your gunsmith. So all in the name of safety, right? There's another little problem too, and that's the expanded background checks, right? The enhanced background checks, which is basically self-reporting. So first of all, I sort of call foul on that, because it's still questions on your application that you are voluntarily answering. So it's not actually enhanced background checks, it's enhanced self-reporting. So it'll depend on how honest you are in your answers. But over and above that, it's sort of like this provision represents a privacy concern as well as a discriminatory risk. So we all know what we did 25 years ago doesn't necessarily mean we're that same person now. And
absolutely. Maybe you got counseling for something that happened in your childhood because you were starting to act out and you saw a counselor and now it's fixed.
Right.
Well, I smacked somebody at a high school once and I went to see a counselor about it, and I have to admit that.
And
you shouldn't be smacking people at your high school, Trevor.
I smacked a lot of people at my high school, Adriel. But
I'm quite positive we all slapped people in high school.
Don't make this about me, Adriel.
Don't you work at a high school right now?
Oh, yeah, it's been years since I hit anybody in high school.
Oh, I see.
Well, even things like we've all had those relationships that went off the rails, right? What if you dated somebody for 6 months, everything went off the rails, it didn't go well, she calls the cops on you, there's a big drama. Anyways, you get rid of her 20 years later, now this is going to be on your record. And I asked Mark Holland tonight, does this new enhancement apply to just new applications, or is this also for renewals? And this is for renewals. So when you go to renew your PAL and your RPAL, you guys, you now have to report on your entire life history. I think that might be a little discriminatory. Excuse me.
Well, Rod said it best. If you got to, move it from 5 years to 10 years. If you can stay out of trouble and have no mental health issues for 10 years at a time, you're good.
You're probably good. Yeah. Yeah. So I think going a lifetime is invasive.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second, though? If you've applied, that's my role. I'm a ruiner. That's what Trevor says. If you've applied for a firearms license and you've been truthful about things that have happened in your past, when you go to renew, you didn't suddenly go back in time and commit acts back in time that were a problem. You still would have a clean record, would you not? Right, it's not like they're suddenly going to dig back deeper in time.
They may use that against you, Brian, and say, well,
100%.
You did this a long time ago, and it hasn't creeped up yet, but it might, and we didn't know about it. Now we do, so we're going to disallow you.
Okay, but wouldn't you have already disclosed that when you first made an application?
No, because you didn't have to
No.
go back that far. That's the point.
Okay,
Now this
okay,
is
that's
for
fair.
life.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. See, this is why I like to advocate for the devil, so I can learn things. Thank you.
You just
Advocating for the devil. Okay.
never heard it that way. He made it sound good.
I made it sound legit, didn't I? Yeah.
You did.
It
You
did. It sounded good.
Yeah. Okay. Carry on,
And
Tracy.
then, okay, the big one is the RCMP classifying firearms. So it's always been this way. They're currently doing it this way. I'm not really understanding the need for change. So the process is already done that way. However, it's done under the oversight of elected officials. And this ensures, should there be a mistake or an improper action, that there's some form of recourse or a mechanism for correction. So this is literally a direct assault on Stephen Blaney. That's what this measure is. And they're going to, Ralph Goodale doesn't need legislation to ensure that he continues to let RCMP make things legal or not legal. It's not for during Ralph's tenure. It's for if they don't win in 2019, that we're stuck with that system, right? It's a legacy piece. So, yeah, I mean, it just sort of goes against democracy. I'm not objecting to RCMP Firearms Lab putting forth recommendations. They are apparently experts. However, I still think you've got to have some sort of elected official overseeing these things, right?
Because
otherwise you're letting the inmates run the asylum.
Well,
Okay,
that's a bit harsh, but maybe how about this? We're letting the law enforcers become the lawmakers.
Right.
And that's called
they're not
dictatorship.
making laws. I'm like, well, they are making things legal or not legal.
Yeah.
My banana megs. Sorry, guys, I know you hate that.
Oh, at least you didn't call it a banana clip. That's the one we hate.
Oh, shoot, I should have said it like that because that would have made you cringe.
Yeah.
But those are now prohibited devices like a landmine, right? Like, come on. So, yeah, to me, this is a huge red flag. And this doesn't just affect gun owners. This should affect anybody that cherishes democracy, that respects the position of elected officials. They're your voice. We can't vote out the RCMP. But we absolutely can take action against elected officials who overstep. So now it's sort of a carte blanche, right? Well, it's a little concerning.
The definition of a police state is a state where the police make the laws. So that's essentially what they're codifying. Is that they want to make Canada a police state in terms of firearms. It's also a ploy by the Liberals to be able to say, "Oh, look, it's out of our hands. You don't like what the RCMP did? There's nothing we can do about it. Those are the rules. So don't get mad at me. I didn't do it. Not my fault." And
hey, if your private sale to your buddy for your shotgun wasn't approved and you didn't get your reference number, it was the CFO. It's out of my hands. Yeah. Oh, you didn't get your short-term ATT to take your gun to the gunsmith? Out of my hands. Oh, your gun you've owned for 30 years without problem and millions of Canadians own them? Now it's illegal? Oh, not my problem. Out of my hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a reoccurring problem where there's no accountability with this government. So,
and the other key thing is without Parliament, Canadian citizens have no voice against any of these decisions. That's right. The voice. Theoretically, the politicians are supposed to listen to the constituents, listen to the citizens, and then decide what needs to be done and tell the RCMP, the bureaucracy, how to act in order to move forward. And
you're 100% right.
You're pulling that out. The next thing the RCMP should be the judiciary. They should be the ones behind the bench at a trial. They may as well. Next.
And here's the thing: is the RCMP were in charge of classifications even under a conservative government, but they had some oversight there, right?
There's the ability to come back and say, "Whoa, wait a minute, slow down. What's going on here?"
So removing that is an unnecessary step because that responsibility has already been given to the RCMP by both governments. However, the Liberals want to make sure to leave that as a legacy that never again can somebody do what Steve Blaney did on the way out the door,
Now,
which was rescue 13,000 gun owners.
Now,
So-
that being said, another politician, another government can change this law.
It could, yeah, absolutely. So it would probably require a majority government to overturn it. So
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great to have a majority government in 2019 that would turn this over?
Well, not even
there's
turn it
only one
over,
way
like-
to fix that is vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think the way to fix it is to go back and forth on whether the RCMP or elected officials have the right to rule on this. I think the way to fix it is to put like a common sense way of classifying these things. If they're short barreled, their pistols are restricted. If they're long barreled, they're non-restricted. And if they're full auto, they're prohibited. Like we
Exactly
shouldn't,
right. Yeah.
we shouldn't have a
Okay.
And I'll do you
rule
one better,
that's-
Adriel.
Yeah.
Then we're never going to get rid of licensing. Fine. License me for everything.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
me jump through all the hoops you want to jump.
Classification is useless to begin with.
Right.
I totally agree.
Well, okay.
A gun is a gun.
You could have two classifications in my book. You could have full auto, which would be restricted to range only, and everything else.
Okay.
Whatever.
I'll vote yes for that.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, just like something that makes sense. So it's easy to classify these things and it's not just left up to interpretation and,
Right.
ooh, I don't know. This Blaze 22 looks like an AK-47, so it's prohibited.
And that's and that
completely
is
asinine.
that is the example. That's the prime example of how idiotic it is to have the RCMP Firearms Lab in charge of these things. It's
Right.
literally a cheap plastic clamshell wrapped around a gun.
Yeah.
It makes
But
it look
then
like something.
I like the fact that a Tavor with an 18.5-inch barrel is non-restricted, and I lay it down next to my AR with an 18.5-inch barrel, and that gun is much shorter than the AR, but the AR is restricted. Like, okay, it's dumb that the Tavor is not restricted and the AR is, but thank God they didn't just say all semi-autos.
Well, wait for it.
I'm
Could
sick
always
of-
do that.
Because this is the problem with the RCMP being able to classify anything they want.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
They-
expect it up here. I wouldn't expect anything great in this election cycle. But if the Liberals get back in 2019 and this bill's passed,
Tracy,
Yeah.
Tracy, whatever you did
plug
just destroyed your audio.
earbuds in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put your earbuds back in.
Okay, here's a crazy thought for you guys. We've got the Butler Creek Mag thing, where the Butler Creek Mag for the 1022 has been out for decades,
25 years at least.
25 years, and then Ruger developed the Charger pistol, which is based on the 1022 action. So
There's
then
a
the
whopping 700 of them in Canada.
that's right.
Mhm.
And so then the RCMP said, well, this magazine that was designed 25 years ago is inherently designed for a pistol. Thus, it's prohibited. You cannot have more than 10 rounds in it. Okay, that being said, the RCMP could come back and say the M1 Garand, designed in 1936, is a derivative of the AR-15 and thus is a restricted firearm. It follows the same logic.
Yeah.
Any semi-auto is now a derivative of the
Well, that's
AR-15.
that's why
and-
like variant is too ill-defined and too ambiguous.
Well,
and
this
that's
is
why
it.
you need more common sense, straightforward legislation that makes
Or
sense.
how about a definition of variant?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want you don't want to like go down that route.
Well,
Anyways, Tracy, you were telling us about what else was in C71. Sorry.
those were sort of our main concerns. So just to recap, the private sales, I think in order to process that program, you've got to build the infrastructure, which basically accomplishes the same thing as the long gun registry. That cost us end up being over $2 billion, was it? So there's going to be a significant resources required in order to support this infrastructure. Now, to me, I don't know. I'd rather take that money and put it towards fighting crime, actual crime. So it's just wasteful and ineffective. And I think it's, I just think it's targeting the wrong area. So we've got the infrastructure and what it's going to cost to support this registrar who will keep a registry. So there's
And you
gonna be
have to
some cost.
call them and talk to them on the phone. Like for restricted licenses or what? How many 200,000 licenses? How many people are licensed for restricteds? Somewhere around there.
976,000, I believe, in Canada.
Yeah.
Almost a million.
And there's 2 million non-restricted. Like there's a lot of people that a lot of extra volume they're going to add to those call centers, and they're going to have to pay all these people to take
That's
calls
right.
for permission
100%.
slips to sell shotguns.
And just the database to keep this entire infrastructure, to keep all these reference numbers, so they can go back and prove that when you sold your shotgun to Johnny, you both had a license, right?
Literally, the only thing missing from this is a registration certificate.
Well, that's your reference number. The only thing really missing is the identifying information about the firearm. And CFOs are, of course, allowed to always increase measures. They're not allowed to decrease measures. So watch for your CFO to require that. And then what you've got is the Liberals promise to not return to a federal long gun registry. Yeah, they're right. They're going to let the provinces do it. All of them.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say New Brunswick ain't gonna do it.
I hope not. So number one
Neither
problem
will
we've
Alberta.
got.
It'll be Quebec, Ontario, then BC.
Yeah, Ontario will be
obviously
right
will do
there.
it. Oh yeah,
Guaranteed.
they'll love it. Right there with it.
Oh yeah, Kathleen is
I don't
all
know.
over that.
Well, we'll see because we've got a provincial election
Well,
coming
you're
up in
right.
Ontario,
Doug
right?
won't.
She's
No, Doug won't. Doug
She's not.
actually is of the opinion that the CFO doesn't necessarily need to be OPP. He's not sure why it is. He said it could be anyone. It's an appointed position, right?
That's right,
Absolutely.
and it is anyone in other provinces.
I would like to declare my candidacy.
Me too.
Well, I'm close. Like it's local. It's a short commute for me.
Right. So, we got a little problem with that whole, you got about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way to a registry right there, and it's a very short jump to the rest. We've got the problem with going through a person's entire life history. You could have that one crazy ex from 20 years ago. Now it's going to cause you a problem. And it includes renewals, not just new applications. So it's a privacy concern. The ATTs, basically returning back to paper ATTs for anything other than the range, when there's no evidence forthcoming to indicate that any significant issues associated with ATTs caused a problem for law enforcement or had any related risk to public safety.
Not just that, Tracy, every time they change the policy on ATTs, it's been a couple of times here in the province, depending on our CFO, they've changed things. When we required one everywhere, like the New Brunswick CFO changed things once in a while. They never informed law enforcement. We got guys going to the Florida Open from Nova Scotia who get to the airport coming home, and the CBSA officer's like, "Where's your ATT?"
Yeah.
He's like, "It's not 2012, dude."
Well, I know. And
it was a Sunday, and he didn't let him through until they finally got a hold of somebody who said, "Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore." He's tied up for an hour because some guy wasn't trained.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. And that's the thing. Law enforcement doesn't know the laws. Canadians don't know the laws.
Well, they're not told the laws.
Members of Parliament don't know the laws.
That
was painful. Half the time, the RCMP don't know the laws. Yeah, I think the
people advising the government
people are gun owners.
People who advise the government don't know the laws.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah. And then the big one that we've got a real problem with, of course, is the police state that we are creating by removing any parliamentary oversight. It'll just be a carte blanche. RCMP will be free to do whatever they want. And, I think we've got to really think about that. So that doesn't fit in any democracy or form of it that I've ever heard of. So those are some things. Now, there are some things you can do. So we're going to be launching a series of products and materials that we're going to put out to gun owners. We've got a link on the website right now called C71 Simplified Bill Analysis and Contentions. We've seen a bunch of other products come out on the internet. Here's all the things wrong. And these are massive lists of things. We've got to really simplify it down so the average guy can write to the average MP, which usually neither of them has a whole bunch of knowledge on this topic, right? So we've identified a few problems and we've put right on there what you could do. So we want you to call your MP, especially if they're Liberal rural MPs. I'm going to lose battery. Let me just plug in. I'm going to have to just talk into the phone. Sorry, I just don't know you.
Always,
Can you hear
always
me if I
prepared,
talk
huh,
like this?
Trace? Always prepared.
Okay, sorry.
A video of your
To be-
earlobe. That's great.
To
Okay,
be fair,
so-
she is not a podcaster. Okay, give her some slack.
Please, she's been on more podcasts than you.
I know.
That's
and
not
it's
true,
my
actually.
fault. I got
Calling you
totally
out on that
distracted
for a lot.
after.
Fine. If Tracy, you can say what you want. We can't hear you anyway. So Brian and I will continue to fight.
Why,
Yes!
Can you not hear me at all?
It's not worth. It's so low, Tracy, that it's.
Yeah, you got to get your earbuds back in there.
Yep.
Oh, you can't. You probably have one of those iPhones that you're either plugged in or using the earbuds.
Yeah, I should have gone with Android.
No, they're doing the same thing these days.
No, really?
You got a laptop,
Oh.
don't you?
Yeah.
Fire it up.
Firing it up.
Click the link and.
I don't want to do all these editing.
Just go
Angel,
to the
the-
Calgary. Good
I'm so sorry.
girl.
you're now getting in between Adriel and the
And
gun
sleep.
show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Adriel, are you driving yourself or is somebody driving you?
I'm driving
You're
myself.
too drunk to
Oh,
drive.
you're out of luck.
Yeah, that doesn't stop me before. I'm joking. Come on.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Speaking of edit points, Adriel confessing to drunk driving. That's awesome. Well done, sir.
Technically high, Brian.
Oh, that's not better yet.
That's a lateral move. That's not a step up.
No, because Justin was going to actually do something in his platform and he muffed that up too. Yeah.
Wow, they can do sobriety tests or whatever.
I'm
Can
trying
they
to
do
open
road-
it on my laptop and it's saying verifying installation.
Oh
Okay.
Jesus!
Oh,
Just like stuck there.
oh my.
Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, now you really want to make sure he edits.
And there's a shark, and we jumped over it. Oh, it's
We are live after all, Tracy.
this is not
oh,
better.
thank you.
Mini Me is at home watching this on a 85-inch screen TV, and he just heard the CCFR.
F bomb.
Yeah,
Listeners, please go back in your mind and insert a beep where you heard.
the
Ooh,
Liberals
Well-
made her do it.
I think on the live show, that's a risk. That's a risk you're going to have to take.
That's
that,
a-
that is
yeah.
that is a risk. And to be fair, Trevor, you have a bottle of scotch in front of you. So
Yeah, I did.
the risks
Well,
are higher.
No, actually, Brian, I have 3/4 of a bottle of scotch in front of me.
Oh, I at least left my bottle upstairs.
Oh no, my goal is to drink it before the show's done.
No. You would even you would kill yourself.
Challenge accepted.
Alrighty then, I won't be the temp after
You
anymore.
run fully into my Ricky.
I'm
This is
switching to
true.
Colin's phone. So just
We
Oh,
have
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna give him the link here. Oh shit. Trevor, can you send Colin a PM? And
Yes.
can you send Colin a PM with that? I'm gonna switch
Yes.
phones onto his. Thank you.
I'm on it.
Okay.
next time. Let's have Colin on because he's
Thank you,
together.
Colin.
Colin's doing some pretty interesting things, and we should have him on.
I'm good with
I
that.
should have him on.
I'm not familiar with Colin, but he sounds interesting.
Yeah,
He-
he's getting stuff done that matters and things.
Okay, good. I'm good. I'm down with that. And he does dishes.
Yes.
Cool. I should ask my wife when the last time she did dishes was.
Really?
Yeah, she
Hey.
cooks. She
Sounds
cooks,
like a
so
good
you're
way to
right.
start a
She
fight.
cooks. Yeah, you're right. She cooks, so I should shut up.
How are you going to phrase that? Hey, honey, when's the last time you
I
did
don't
the
want
dishes?
This is why I have friends. I throw out ideas, and they point out why they're wrong. Okay, this is good. I'm
Oh, you
not gonna
want?
have that fight. Nope, I'm good. 'Cause I like to eat what my wife cooks, and I will clean up the dishes afterwards. That's okay. Not a problem.
Do.
Brian, the guy who you PM'd me about being drunk,
Yes.
I got him blocked. I'm so glad.
Oh.
Oh my God, Tracy! Tracy, are you there? If you
I'm
guys,
coming.
anyway,
Yeah, I'm just signing in on Colin's phone. Give me 1 minute.
Should I share
just
that
got
to
a
the group?
picture- No, listen, guys. I just got a picture of Mini Me standing in front of the big screen, pointing his she swore finger, like he's pointed at me 1,000 times, at Tracy on the screen. Did I call it or did I call it?
Yes.
I got to share this picture with you guys. It's hilarious.
All right, I'll lock it to your screen if you've
Okay. Stand by.
and then do
Oh,
the little
okay.
green arrow thing.
How's that?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Sorry.
So if you
Total fail.
lock to my screen, how do
Yeah,
I get it
I got locked to your screen. Use the little green screen share thing on the left-hand side.
on the left-hand side? Okay.
And hit screen share.
Now does it work?
You
What-
pick
what
a
do you
screen,
see?
you go, okay.
Do you
Not
see it
so
now?
much.
No.
No.
You got to click the green little arrow thing that says screen share. You got to pick the screen.
Oh,
you gotta hit
share. Got it.
Yeah.
And then follow the instructions.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, there we go. Nice.
Huh?
Yes.
And that's actually, I think she's giving someone the finger. So she swore she gave the finger, and there's Mini Me busting her. Told you, Trace. You
Oh,
upset a
boy.
child.
No, it's not Tracy anymore. It's Colin. It says
Corrupted.
if I slide my mouse over the face, I get Colin. So
You
Yeah.
do?
yeah,
Mhm.
Well,
it still looks like you, but it says Colin.
Mini Me knows it was her.
Yes.
So now
Google
Mini
does not
Me's at
know
home.
you.
Mini Me is at home looking at a picture of himself. There you go. All right.
That's
Sorry,
creepy.
Mini.
Okay, unshare that.
where
There we
were
go.
we?
Oh, wait, no, that's worse. Sorry.
What's our edit point here?
God.
Okay.
Somewhere before the F bomb.
Somewhere before the F bomb. What the hell
I'm
were we
so
talking
sorry about that. Well, Trevor was giving me crap for not being prepared, so he's
And
totally
before
right.
that,
100% right. Before that, I was just sort of recapping on why we hate C71
all right.
and what we can do.
All right, ready?
And then I put
And
my phone down.
go.
So there's some things we can do here. What can you do? You can phone your MP once per week. So these calls are super important. I think once per week is a good amount. Don't threaten them. Don't be crazy. Just be polite. You can use the talking points from the web article to have your discussion with them. Let them know you don't support C71. You don't support debate being shut down, and voice your concerns. And ask them to get to work on some valid crime prevention strategies, right? The second thing you can do is educate yourself on the topic. Be able to explain why you don't like it, why there's this bad legislation. We've given you those materials, and we've got a bunch more stuff coming out. So Rod's got some political videos that he's going to be putting out in the coming days. We're going to get sharing those, share them everywhere. And lastly, of course, join the CCFR. That's what you can do to fight C71. Are we going to win it? I don't know. We're going to committee. Well, the bill is going to committee. I have put us up for consideration for witnesses for committee. I did attend a Foreign Affairs Committee session on C47 a while back. So I think it would be really great to have maybe Rod come and comment on that. You know, hopefully we can get some amendments in. I was hoping to maybe delay the process a little bit with a clause by clause reading and things like that. But as you've seen in the last few days, they are ramming this through. So yeah, vote. That's your biggest thing you can do. Now, Brian had mentioned a little while ago talking about people, commenting on legislation or being involved in legislation without having topic knowledge. So that fits really nicely in with the next thing I want to talk to you about. So you may remember last fall, we had a petition, Member of Parliament from Calgary Nose Hill, Michelle Rempel, who's a very good friend of mine. She sponsored my parliamentary e-petition, which basically asks Goodale to run his members of the Canadian Firearms Advisory Committee, also known as CFAC, through the Canadian Firearms Safety course. The course is not difficult. My daughter did it at 12. You know, it's not difficult. It by no means makes you an expert, but it does give you at least a baseline of topic knowledge. I actually met last week during Lobby Week. Rod and I went and met with one of the members on CFAC, and he was talking about the FAC. So we sort of corrected him. We talked about the PAL, and he wasn't even aware what it was. So these are people the minister has tasked him with advising him on legislation surrounding the firearms file who don't even know what a license is. So the good news is Michelle did a little presser yesterday. I went down to the House of Commons and joined her down in the gallery right outside where you watch QP. We did a presser there. I didn't speak. I let her and Pierre Paul Huss, who is the opposition critic for public safety, they spoke about it, did a little presser, did some questions with the media. Michelle and I went off on the side afterwards and did an interview. And then she was supposed to be able to present her petition after question period, which was really, really rangy yesterday. They were really riled up. Anyways, the Liberals passed a motion to go ahead with orders of the day, of course. So my petition didn't get tabled yesterday. However, she did get it done today. So they'll have video clip from all three of those little events. We're going to roll it into one shareable piece, and we're going to put that out there. And now we wait for public safety to give us their official response. So I think here's the point where we get to sort of, I full well expect Minister Goodale to come back and tell me to take a flying leap, that he will not force his committee to go through the course, which we have offered to provide. We happen to have a CEO who teaches the Canadian Firearms Safety course. He's put about 4,000 people through it. So we have offered to provide the course for them just to give them a little bit of base topic knowledge. If that's refused, then here's where we basically just discredit the committee, right? I don't know where else to go with that. I've also got some correspondence ongoing with the ethics critic, Peter Kent. You may remember him. He was a newscaster, and now he's a member of parliament. He is the ethics critic, and I've been speaking with him about some information I've discovered in some of my many ATIPs. My desk is literally about 2 feet high with ATIPs right now. And I did an ATIP for a piece of a memo that I found online on the Polly Souviang, the Polly Remembers website. Basically, it's an 18-page document asking the Liberal government for legislation. Well, the meaning behind the word lobby is to influence government and to influence legislation, right? And Natalie Provost, who you are aware is vice chair of CFAC, she's appointed to the minister's committee, signed an agreement with the minister that she would not lobby for Polly Souviang while serving on the committee. Now, I saw that document online. However, it's just the verbiage from it. I wanted that original document. I want to know who sent it, and I want to know who signed it. Because I did have a sneaky suspicion that I might find Miss Provost's signature on there. Sure enough, I did. It's exactly what I found. So I've got Miss Provost's signature on a document requesting legislation from the government while she also serves on the committee. And I also have her signed agreement with the minister promising not to lobby him while she served on that position. So that's a massive ethics violation, and I'd like her removed from the committee immediately. So there's a lot going on with that committee right now. Unfortunately, this would have been a great opportunity for the minister to create basically a panel of credible, valid experts, right? And instead, he's chose to, kind of make some sort of facade with it. It's like a political construct. So, yeah, I think one of our main objectives this spring should be to completely destroy it. So that's one of my main missions.
Yeah.
Good times. So, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's part of my lobby work. Speaking of lobby week, do you want me to continue?
Sure.
I always have so much to say, so just cut me off at any time. So Rod came down. We had a whirlwind tour. It lasted about 10 days for him, about 8 for me. I ditched him and didn't go to TACOM, which I immediately regretted that decision. But we did. 48 hours after the bill was tabled, we had already put in about a solid 23 hours on the Hill. It was absolutely insane. So I went and picked him up in Toronto. We did the Sportsman Show. We attended an event with OFA, did some work with them. And then we drove back to Ottawa on the Sunday. Monday, we went for a field trip with Ryan Harriman at SFRC, which we had to cut short. And in fact, I had to pull over on the highway because we were doing interviews inside the car. So the pandemonium began very early. So we got back to Ottawa. We ran downtown. We did an in-studio interview with Brian Lilly. You guys may have heard it on 580 CFRA. And later on that day, we met with Dan Bryan from Public Safety. And then Rod did a very late night interview with Courtney from City News Edmonton. The next morning, we got up early. The bill was tabled. So that's when the real work began. We actually watched the bill being tabled from former Public Safety Minister Stephen Blaney's office. So I just thought it would be kind of interesting to watch the tabling of a bill destroying what he had done from his office, right? So we did that. And then we followed that up with a meeting with Pierre Paul Huss. He is the opposition critic for public safety. And he had a whole team of staff there. It was amazing. So they had just come out of a caucus meeting discussing the legislation. Rod and I also attended, this was all within a 2-hour time period. We also attended a technical briefing with the minister. So it was just one thing after another. We left there. We ran over to CTV National News Studios on Queen Street, and we did 2 interviews there. So we had Rod in makeup and literally did one interview in a hallway and then went into the studio and did another one. We ran back to the hotel, got on the phone. I did an interview with the Rick Gibbons show in Ottawa. Meanwhile, Rod was doing one with Andrew Lawton. And we basically just traded off the entire afternoon, about 3 more hours of that. We had John Gormley. We had the Charles Adler show. We had BBC. At one point, actually, Rod was on the phone doing an interview, I think, with BBC. And I did an interview with Le Devoir out of Montreal. So I was out in the hallway doing my interview. And of course, all the cleaning ladies were watching me and listening. And I thought, that's okay. But if you start that vacuum, we're gonna have words. So yeah, it was really cool. So then that was our afternoon. And then we jumped back into action. We headed over to Confederation Building and we had a meeting. We hosted a roundtable with the entire Conservative Hunting and Angling Caucus and a couple other MPs, Cheryl Gallant. So we had Blaine Calkins, Bob Zimmer, Robert Sopak, Larry Miller, all the typical gun guys. And we held a roundtable discussion, sort of a strategic planning session. So that was one day, all that, what I just told you. That was one day. So it was a very, very long day. Wednesday, we started off, we met with TJ Harvey. We had a couple other informal meetings, and then we had one with opposition, but we were not at liberty to discuss it. Then we attended question period in the House of Commons. I was a little disappointed that day because it was the day after the bill was tabled, and there was literally only one question about the bill during question period. I do realize they needed some time to go through it with their legal experts and sort of decide where they're going. And, opposition has gotten a little more on the ball since then. So I do really appreciate that. We did a couple more interviews, Mike Farwell's show, 570 Kitchener, the Ryan Jesperson show. We did a whole bunch of them. Then Thursday, we had scheduled a parliamentary press conference. So this was really cool. This was a really neat platform to get ourselves in front of national media, but not in an interview setting. In an interview setting, you're sort of at the mercy of your interviewer. So they can sometimes are hostile. Sometimes their questions are leading or directing you in a certain direction. This was cool because we got to basically say our statements, say whatever we wanted. And we had 10 minutes between Rod and I to do so. And then a 20-minute question period followed. And then literally they had to throw us out and the questions were still going on. So we ended up off in a side hallway with the media and continued on there. So that was really good. Then we stopped in to see Brad Trost. I wanted to check up with him. As you know, he is the one, he's actually got some court action with the Conservatives right now because his leadership campaign was deemed responsible for the membership leak to the NFA. So he's defending himself against those charges, and we went and met with him to discuss that. So we just literally had like a whirlwind tour. And then we ended that day off with a pub night, which we stayed up way too late. We had probably 60 people show up. I've never seen a pub night like it. And it was great. And Nanook gave us a bunch of those little cases to give away. So we had some prizes. And it was really important to Rod to be able to sort of get down to that grassroots, boots on the ground level and discuss things with with the members, meet them, shake hands. You know, we never want to be just talking heads. You know, we want to connect with our members because members come first. So,
how do people help out with the fight in terms of like supporting the CCFR? Where can they reach out, and how can they help with funding you guys?
Well, if you go to firearmrights.ca, you can get your membership there. You'll see a bunch of big buttons right on the home screen. So we've got on there, give today, donate. So, you know, if you want to throw a few bucks, everything costs money, even just parking that week, going back and forth to these meetings in downtown, you know, it's not free. So you can give, donate anything you can. Every little bit helps. You can become a member. That's the most important thing. There is strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Money
is one thing, but having names and numbers.
I mean, I know that we speak for more than just our own members because there's a lot of gun owners out there. However, I can't really say that with any credibility unless you're a member, right?
Look at it this way. If everyone who liked us on Facebook bought a membership, we would run the country.
Well, yeah. You know, if we had the budget that some people do, it would be amazing what could happen. Like, look at the amount of work and product. You know, we've got gundebate.ca, we've got the CCFR website, all these really cool advocacy tools. We've got the biggest team of volunteers in the history of gun organizations. We've got 230 boots on the ground? Well, double that, right? 460, because we're all wearing 2 boots. But but you know, we've got this amazing team of volunteers. We've got these really awesome advocacy projects. We've developed the tools to help gun owners debate effectively on their own. We've got lobbyists in Ottawa. We've got a huge public relations campaign, you know, and we're doing all this on a fairly tight budget, comparatively speaking. Well, yeah, it is tight, right? So
we only have 2 paid employees.
Yeah.
And look at what we've done, and we're not even 3 years old.
Well, I know, and that's, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to toot my own horn or sing the praises or even put down anybody else's work, because all advocacy is good advocacy. But
no, we're not here to put anyone down. We're supposed to cooperate, work together. The antis are united, so we need to be united. But there's no denying that we have definitely gained a lot of traction in the short amount of time we've existed.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, I got Mark Holland calling my cell phone, and a regular meeting with public safety. That's never happened. Like, I don't know. We're doing something right, I think, because we're rational. We take a really good stance on things, and we present ourselves well. But yeah, we literally cannot do this without people. We need help. We need funds. We need members. And if you're interested in volunteering and doing more, send an email to volunteer@firearmrights.ca and think about joining the team.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know,
so for all those listeners out there, head on over to firearmrights.ca and consider getting a membership. Tracy, thanks again for coming on and talking about this. It's kind of a dicey subject, and there's a lot of opinion as to like what this even means, and it was really helpful having your expertise to kind of guide us through.
Thanks for having me on. I know I'm a little long-winded, but there's so much to talk about.
And it's so good. I mean, you're dropping a couple of and then we did this show, and then this show, and then this show, and then this show, and it's like, well, that was one day. It's an incredible amount of volume of what you guys are doing, and we appreciate that you're doing it.
Absolutely, we're in it together, guys.
Awesome. Thanks again, Tracy.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna get on to the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys need me, or can I go?
No, you can go. Say hi to Colin.
I'll say hi to Colin. I don't know where he is. He's fed up with me at this point.
He's doing the dishes.
Yeah, he's sweet.
Bye. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks,
bye, guys.
That's great.
Night. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to get out of it.
Oh, hang up on her, Adriel. There you go. Look at that.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Ejected. There she goes. All
Did
right,
you
let's get on to the news. Remington filed for bankruptcy, so that's
I'm
that's now
surprised.
happening.
Color me
Yeah.
shocked.
That's they were
So we knew it
following
was
some
already
other
coming.
different bankruptcy protections. So now that they're just filing for bankruptcy, I guess it's just continuing along that path. Go sign that petition. So I'll put a link in the show notes to the petition against C71. But it's important to show that gun owners are pissed that we don't like it when we have these terrible laws put against us. So this is again just showing all these votes that they're going to lose at the next election.
So it's e-petition 1608.
1608. If you just want to head right on over there.
I
yeah.
believe it's been shared on Slamfire, correct?
Correct.
So if you can't find it, guys, just go to our Facebook page and the link is there. And please feel free to sign or to share it as well on your own walls.
Definitely.
There's currently 16,927 signatures.
Broken down by province.
Ontario's in the lead,
Good.
by the way.
I got the most
And-
people.
Yep, they got a
We
lot
should-
of gun owners.
Yeah. Ontario should lead that. We want to represent
Yeah.
on this one. If we have the biggest population, we should have the biggest people voting. Yeah.
Right, but everything's a contest, so come on, everybody else. Don't let Ontario make us look bad.
Hey, you know what? If Ontario puts up big numbers and the other province put up bigger numbers, we all win.
That's
Exactly.
correct. New Brunswick, by the way, out of the East Coast, New Brunswick has the most people who've signed it. Just saying.
There you go.
Do you
Come
have
on,
the
Nova
most people on the
Scotia.
East Coast?
Come on, Nova Scotia.
No,
You
I'm here
can-
in a place
you can
called
do better for your
Halifax.
brother.
Halifax has more people than all of New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island combined.
True story.
Halifax doesn't have that many people, though, does
That's
it?
true.
No. Actually, Kingston, Ontario has more people than Prince Edward Island.
There
Okay,
you go.
can we stop the civics lesson and let's move on with the news?
Talk about some guns. All
I
right.
want to talk about this gun.
The
I like this
Wolverine
gun.
Supplies, they've got the FX9 pre-order live, $8.99 for a non-restricted 9mm AR style carbine.
Uh-oh.
And-
This is the coolest one I've seen so far today.
Okay,
It's
no,
pretty-
okay. Bullseye London has this on sale right now or pre-sale. I think it's junk. Prove me wrong. Send me one. Send me one now.
That's how it works, Brian. That's how it works.
Uh,
No, it looks good. It looks really good.
They should send you
Bullseye
the
London.
AR carbine too, just so you've got both of them to check.
Except they decided in 2018 to not provide an ambi mag release. Thank you very much.
Lame.
Lame.
That just affects like
you know, the
the
only
law.
person that cares about that is the left-handed person, right?
I'm 25% of the crew on the show right now. I'm higher than the national average.
Mhm.
Yeah, the FX9, so it's cool. It takes AR grips, AR buttstocks. I believe that's an AR4 end. The
Ooh.
trigger group was a little bit different. They mentioned that
Yeah.
you might want something that's got a little bit more engagement on it. But other than that, and takes
Air charging
Glock
handle.
mags. Air
Glock
charging
mags?
handle?
It's got an air charging handle. Well, sorry, it's got an air style charging handle. You rack the bolt on this thing the same way you do on a regular air.
Yeah.
Same
So
ergonomics.
It's ahead of the JR carbine.
Yes, it is,
In that
Yeah.
perspective.
But at least the JR carbine is reversible, right?
I guess so, yeah.
It
Yes,
is.
it is. You're right. But however, ejection has never bothered me on a semi-automatic rifle.
Yeah, for me, it's not about ejection. It's about, I believe the charging handle should be on the left hand because if you take your hand off fire control, your thing falls off. The
Yep.
internet taught me that.
Yeah. I don't like
There's people who believe that. However, I disagree with them.
Okay,
but
fair.
this really should have an ambi mag release, because it's 2018.
Okay.
Maybe you could put one
Listen,
in.
You're not formulating a cabinet. Stop it.
Yeah,
This
thank you.
has a AR trigger guard, so you can swap out one to accommodate a glove like the
Yeah.
Magpul one. This has AR safety. This has AR bolt release. Now, when I say that, are the parts interchangeable? I don't know, but
No.
when I say it, I mean they're in the same location as they
They
are.
are
in
in
the
the same-
AR.
and it has takedown pins as opposed to the JR, which uses
Right.
screws. So
Now, the picture shown is of a 16-inch barrel. So the look between the style, if you will, of how much handguard, the ratio of handguard to barrel looks amazing. What they're selling, of course, since it's non-restricted, will be a minimum of 18.5 inch. I wonder if the handguard, if it is a true AR handguard and we can replace it with a 15-inch lightweight handguard, oh, baby.
They're using an 18.6-inch Freedom Ordnance barrel, threaded for 1/2 by 28 muzzle devices.
That's standard. I wonder about the length of the handguard, because if it's like a 14-inch handguard on a 16-inch barrel,
13-inch free float M-lock.
Okay, that's going to look lame on an 18-inch barrel.
Yeah, get a longer one.
It provided it's got an error. Yeah.
It's not going to really look that lame. It's not going to look any different than the AR that I have in my hand, which is a 12-inch handguard on a 20-inch barrel.
Anyways, looks cool.
It's
$900.
You can
Block
change
bags.
what you want. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
1 inch shorter receiver.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more compact, and you don't
Man, I
have
hope they're
that
accurate.
mag way out front.
Well, and it's what gets me is that they mention about the trigger group, and putting in an aftermarket trigger could be a problem. Okay, it's a PDW. This is not a precision instrument. You don't need to have a really crisp match grade trigger in it. You just need something good and get after it. Go shoot.
Depending on your jurisdiction, make an excellent trunk gun.
It's possible.
Yes. Plinking with like a PCC is so fun. Like a red dot on a PCC. Oh, so fun.
I loved shooting my sub 2000 until I wore it out.
Yep.
Yeah. Great kind of, a rifle platform with a 9mm. Come on.
No, what I thought was funny with the JR carbine this weekend, it was loud and had more recoil than I would have anticipated. I don't know why.
But aren't you the one that also said you found the grip texture on an FN too aggressive?
Yes, and I had been shooting a lot of 22 rimfire lately, so my perception may be skewed.
Yeah, you may need to clean the sand out of your lady parts.
Really?
Sorry.
All right, let's
who's
keep going.
created children and who hasn't?
Fair. Your wife did a fine job. I question whether or not you helped, but I know your wife did a great job. I bet your kids are great.
She might have. She let me participate. So
she may have let you practice, but I'm not sure you were there for the big show.
I'm getting fine. Whatever. It's like Adriel was saying before about 3-gun. Having the practices is as good as the match.
It's important to practice with a partner, though, Brian.
She's in the room.
Kelly looks so impressed. Adriel, you need to move us along.
All right, let's keep going. Listener feedback. I'll take these from James B. I'm going to read them as written. If Bill C71 passes, I'm going hand-gunneling on a canoe. Isn't it funny how many guns go missing on boats?
It's true.
Yeah. Also from James B. Mini Snaps, Carver, Merlots, and Merlots?
Merlot and
Savignon.
Yep.
Accept the challenge, and we'll teach you, Trevor, how to sing the greatest song the galaxy has ever known. Sorry, Filthy.
So what this is about is him and the girls call me quite often and pick on me and stuff while I'm driving or whatever. And I challenge them to a sing-off kind of thing. If they raise $50 for the charity shoot, I would sing their favorite song from the movie. What's the one with the talking snowman that came out recently?
Frozen?
Yeah, there's a song in Frozen they want me to sing. I've never seen it, and I really hope to have lived the rest of my life without seeing it. But if the Mini Snaps want to raise $50 for the charity, apparently I have to sing on the show. So game on. But that reminds me also.
Why are they making us suffer?
For money.
What gets me is why James.
I don't know. You have to take this challenge and just let it go, Trevor.
I think Ginger Snap should email me his address so I can send him an EMT for $50 to get to his kids to get to charity. That's what I think.
So I can sing. Thanks for that. But here's the thing. Anyone out there who cannot make the charity shoot, who would like to donate to the charity shoot, because this has been a thing every year. We've always collected money from people ahead of time who can't make it. Please, by all means, it's time to start sending money in. So you can send your donations to the Dalhousie Regional High School Breakfast Program to us at slamfireradio@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to have to sing for it.
What do you want for the password? That people aren't going to put in there anyways. But what do you want for the password?
Slamfire.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Okay.
iTunes reviews. Kelly, do you want to take the one from My Name Flint?
My name Flint. It's a 5-star rating, and the title is "Listening for a While." The review is "Love the show. I appreciate how informative and funny you guys keep it." Well, thank you, Flint. My name is Flint. I think
Awesome.
that's Nathan. By the way, I think that's Nathan Flint. I'm gonna give him a shout out a little bit.
Maybe.
Maybe.
If you want to give us a review, go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes or Podbean or Podcast or whatever podcast app you have. Podbean had one from Andrew R. Brian, did you want to read this one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Okay, from Andrew R. Great show, gang. I really hope some more people sign up for the Falachi. It's been a thing I've wanted to take part in ever since I learned what it was, and especially since I listened to the show after last year's course, as well as this show. You're listening to this show now, and you want to go to the Falachi course? Well done. Fingers crossed that it can happen. Early in the show, Trevor and Adriel were talking about Adriel's aftermarket magwell and discussing whether it was made from aluminum, brass, or some combination of the two. I'm guessing brass is more desirable because the weight reduces felt recoil, although to me the placement of such a large weight seems counterintuitive. I'm not a physicist, but isn't a downwards force at the back and rear of the gun the same as an upward force at the front of the gun? In other words, wouldn't a heavy brass magwell increase the flipperosity of your handgun? Oh, he made me say the word. Oh, Andrew, you win.
First time in podcasting history, he has uttered the word.
You tricked me. Oh, okay. Anyway, well done.
It's like getting you to say Beetlejuice or Rumpelstiltskin or something.
Oh, he wins. I'm hardly an expert on the subject, so I'd enjoy hearing what you have to say on the matter. Gentlemen who have magwells, please talk.
Well,
more weight's better.
Yeah, and if you go back and listen to the episode with Andrew from Atlas Guns, he talks about how that weight on the bottom helps the gun return to zero. So the gun may go up, yes, but it's about the gun stopping at neutral and not dipping down past. So the gun flips up, but when it comes back down, it doesn't go past center, if you know what I mean. The gun stops where the sight needs to stop to be in the notch. I hope that makes sense.
It also acts like a keel on a boat, like it keeps things vertical.
So
vertical is good.
Yeah. I mean, I think if our guns were already heavy enough, it would come down to tuning, and you'd want to tune where it's returning to. Now on a Glock, any weight wherever you can put it is going to make it better than because they're so damn light. So throw as much weight as possible everywhere on the gun, and if you have the problem of too much weight and then you need to tune it, then add or remove here and there and try to get it so that it returns to the right spot all the time.
So I had that Glock 35, which is the extended slide version. Even though there's a cut in the top of the slide to reduce weight, I had the solid brass magwell with the solid brass grip plug, the larger of the two sizes available. And one day while cleaning the gun, I removed it and I picked up the gun and it was so top heavy. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah. There's just nothing in the grip.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's like a plastic shell.
Yeah. Almost like it's made of plastic and nothing else.
It's almost like it was intended to be lightweight and easy to carry.
Yeah. And in the 19, it's exactly right. Everything else.
Yeah. I think Andrew continues to say my Patreon pledge was supposed to be $4.10, but for whatever reason, the Patreon website kept changing it to $4.09. Computers, right? Yeah.
Maybe the coders were fans of the Beach Boys? I don't know. Oh,
sorry.
Nice.
Shoutouts. Trevor,
All right.
Do you have any shoutouts? No? Okay. Adriel, no. Kelly.
Yes, I have a couple. These are all guys that came up to me at the TACCOM, and they said, Kelly, I'll listen to Slamfire. So it's Nathan Flint, Mark Cadeau, Joe Cameron, Thomas Stika, who brought me those amazing beers. Thank you, Thomas.
Chitka.
Yes. And Stan. And I didn't get Stan's last name, but he has been listening to Trevor and Matthew since the beginning. And he says he got into shooting pistol, and it's all Trevor's fault.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brian?
I want to say it was nice to meet you, Kelly Squared. Even though it took Kelly not Squared a while to introduce us. Matt McClatchy, I'd like to thank you for covering for my absence last week.
That's very gracious of you.
It is kind of. It is. All right. And
Okay. Matthew, do you have a shout out?
Oh no, it's I'm gonna just take a second to announce something that I forgot to announce, and I know you're in a hurry, and I apologize. But it's kind of big news. I'm starting my very own gun show. I found a weekend in November with
You're on a gun show right now.
No. I mean a gun show, like show up, rent a table, sell your guns, annual event.
You really should have came to TACOM then.
No, it's a different kind of thing.
It's a different kind of thing. Yeah. It'll be very fuddy, but that's fine because fuddy's
what I mean.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So there's no gun show in my end of the province, and so I learned like when I was 16. If you want something to happen, you could wait for someone to do it, or you could just do it yourself. So I've been doing it myself since I was 16. So there's no gun show here, so I'm going to start one.
Because you need more to do.
I cannot wait for the copious messages and emails with you complaining about how hard this is and how stupid this was for you to take on, and
seriously
watching you just
the stuff that I run and organize, I can't put on a one-day gun show. Seriously.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. No, you're gonna whine about it,
But I whine about everything. I whine about not having something to whine about.
I don't need something else for you to whine to me about. That's all. I'm just trying to protect my interests, my shallow interests.
Right.
Gonna whine anyways. What's the point?
Exactly. Don't fight it.
Yeah.
This is true. And for the people in your area, they will have a gun show. So good job, Trevor. And I guess I'll block you. That's all.
Why not? You block everybody else who criticizes you on social media.
No, you'd be surprised.
I would be. It's like 4 people who got away with it so far. I'm one of them.
Awesome. All right, Patreon supporters. We have 84. Our new Patreons are Brant H, Jonathan H, and Sean H. Make sure when you guys sign up that you email us your address so we can send you some stuff in the mail. If you want to sign up to Patreon, go to, for us, go to patreon.com/Slamfire Radio. Finally, please join one or more of our national firearms associations, such as the CCFR, the CSSA. It's important to get them out there doing all this media stuff, because that sounds like a lot of work. I'm glad Tracy's doing it and I don't have to do it. Someone's got to get out there and be on TV and be a good role model, good spokesperson. And those two are pretty close. Get out there hunting, blast some long range F-class targets. Give your MP a call or a letter or something about C71 and make sure you get in touch with them. And like us on Facebook. We've got 1,873 likes over there. That's where you can discuss the show. Check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. We have a thread over there. And I'll see you at the Calgary Gun Show tomorrow, maybe. Good night, everyone.
Night,
everybody.
Night.
That's funny. Ken Allen just asked me if I have vehicle props at my course.